Chapter 1948. Seeing old Yun's cautious expression, Xiao Chun, who was holding the tyrant's saber, did not choose to draw it in the end. He could already sense that the saber in his hand was no longer what it was in the past. The instant Xiao Chun grasped the saber's hilt, a grave killing chi and boundless surging energy surged out in his heart. It was like a volcano waiting to erupt. The moment it was drawn, it would erupt. Senior Yun looked at Xiao Chun and said, "This saber has been in the world for tens of thousands of years already, not appearing for more than 8,000 years. It was once of the highest quality, even surpassing spirit weapons and reaching the level of a divine weapon of the heavenly realm. However, as time passed, it became covered in dust, causing its quality to decline. However, that tyrannical and heartless soul never faded away. It awakened, revived, erupted, and climbed to the peak again. Although I made the soul in your saber reappear today, I also successfully infused a strand of grand, profound lightning into it. This might be an opportunity for this saber." Xiao Chun said softly, "The grand, profound lightning is born in the heavenly Tao and contains the supreme principles of the heavenly Tao. Does Senior Yun mean that the supreme principles contained in the grand, profound lightning might be able to change some of the tyrant saber's origins?" "That's right. However, how to choose and where to go depends on you. The existence of the saber is a taboo in itself. The heavenly Tao rejects it, which is why it is so ominous. However, now, you infused a grand, profound lightning into it. This is actually quite contradictory." Senior Yun smiled and said, "Because of this old man gained great comprehension during this refinement. My family name is Yun, and my name is Tion. If you need any help in the future, you can contact me through the Heavenly Alliance." "The Heavenly Alliance?" Lu Riyun and the others revealed strange expressions. It seemed like they had not heard of this organization before. Xiao Chen nodded and said, "Definitely. Goodbye." Senior Yun performed a cupped fist salute and left with an excited expression. Wei Hongfei asked, finding this strange, "Xiao Chun, you know about the Heavenly Alliance?" Xiao Chen nodded slightly to indicate that he knew. Based on the blood-soaked Dragon Emperor's memories, Xiao Chen knew that this was an extremely ancient organization. Due to its high threshold, it normally kept a low profile, so few people knew about it. The Heavenly Alliance was made up of blacksmiths, alchemists, swordsmiths, formation masters, appraisers, geomasters, and other grandmasters who were not martial cultivators. The threshold was very high. One had to be at least a first-level Supreme Power Master to join the Heaven Alliance. It was even to the extent that the Heavenly Alliance determined what a Grandmaster was. For example, an alchemist could only be considered a Grandmaster if he could refine the primeval heavenly pill. This was the Heavenly Alliance's rule. Without reaching a certain level of strength, it was impossible to understand this organization. After a certain period of time, they would hear of this organization, and they would often come into contact with it. If ordinary people wanted to come into contact with the Heavenly Alliance's members, they could only rely on a third faction. Such a faction would normally be a merchant association. In the past few years, the merchant associations had grown closer to the Heavenly Alliance. Rumor had it that the peak merchant associations were even members of the Heavenly Alliance, responsible for providing resources and venues. After watching Senior Yun leave, Xiao Chen's group set off for Desolate God Valley. Sir Xiao! Sir Xiao!" Just at this moment, a hurried shout stopped Xiao Chen's group, who was about to turn around. It was Li Xiuhai rushing over. However, he was not alone. Aside from him, there was also the appraiser Noble Clan's Master Bai and a group of middle-aged men. The Nine Cauldron Pavilion's boss? What was he here for? Wei Hongfei asked, feeling suspicious. Xiao Chen teased, "Boss Li, your timing is really coincidental." Li Xiuhai smiled abashedly and said, "Sir Xiao, you jest." Seeing that Xiao Chan was still willing to pay attention to him, Li Xiuhai heaved a sigh of relief. He said softly, "Sir Xiao, I was in the wrong the previous time. This time, Master Bai and I are here to make up for it. These people are the blacksmiths and formation masters of my Nine Cauldron Pavilion. They know a lot about the heaven-suspending war chariot. The core formation cannot be completely changed, but changing its appearance and making some changes is something that can be done quickly. When Wei Hongfei and the others saw such a scene, they felt inexplicably shocked. Why did the Nine Cauldron Pavilion's boss look like he was trying to curry favor with Xiao Chun? What was going on? This stunned the group. These people were very familiar with Xiao Chun, so they wondered if Xiao Chun had some hidden identity that they did not know. Master Bai said, "Young Master Xiao, this old man can guarantee that these people are trustworthy." Li Xiaohai looked at Xiao Chun somewhat nervously, afraid that Xiao Chun would not be willing to accept this favor. Xiao Chun entered deep thought. It looks like this Li Xiaohai does want to mend their relationship. However, there's no need for him to move this war chariot. There's still people inside. Hua Qingyan has been locked inside all this time. Xiao Chun said indifferently, "I appreciate your kind intentions. In the future, if there is any business, I will still take care of Boss Li. That will be all, then." Li Xiaohai still wanted to say something, but Master Bai stopped him. "Young Master Xiao, are you going to Desolate God Valley?" Xiao Chun did not avoid the topic. He nodded and said, "Since a fortuitous encounter appeared, we naturally have to fight for it. Most of the adventurers in ancient Desolate Town have already gone there, right?" Master Bai smiled and said, "It's far more than most. 3 days ago, the Heavenly Lodging Palace gave up on the seal and worked with the various rank 6 sects to explore. Nearly all the cultivators with some strength in ancient Desolate Town rushed over. Did you discover what it is? I'm not sure. The information is still chaotic, and it is hard to tell if it is real or fake. I still have to see it for myself to verify it." Master Bai performed a cupped fist salute and said, "I will not disturb young Master Zhao's group any further. If there are any gains, feel free to come to our 9 Cauldron Pavilion for a drink. Goodbye." After sending off the 2-star war chariot with his eyes, Li Xiaohai felt somewhat disappointed and frustrated. He sighed, "This person still has not forgiven me. Why did I take the risk? I fancied myself clever, thinking that I could use this to figure out the other party's true origins." Master Bai consoled, "Don't overthink. It is already pretty good that you did not try to threaten him with this. No matter where this person came from, the aura that he gives me is already comparable to that of some sovereign personages. Just because of this, we cannot pry into him. We just need to befriend him. What about me? Don't worry. He still does not care about you. Given his boldness, he will not even remember you after this trip, much less take revenge on you. Don't even think about it," Master Bai said indifferently before turning to leave. Mr. Bai said faintly and turned around to leave. However, Master Bai already made up his mind to hand over Xiao Chen's information. In the future, when the Bai clan saw him, they would treat him well. As long as such a person was given an opportunity, he would definitely achieve great things in the future. Inside the war chariot, Murong Yin could not hold back his curiosity. He looked at Xiao Chun and asked, "Xiao Chun, why is that Li Xiaohai so obedient to you?" It was not just Murong Yin. The others showed curious expressions as well, wanting to know the answer. Xiao Chun answered honestly, "There are no secrets to it. He cannot figure me out, but I can figure him out. Since he wants to gain benefits from me, naturally, he has to be careful and cautious. Such a person is very opportunistic. He has been at the bottom of the 9 Cauldron Pavilion for too long and does not want to miss out on any opportunities. He might have offended someone that he cannot afford to offend in the past. His weakness is very obvious." "That's it. In that case, I know how to do it next time as well," Murong Yin said with a smile. This was a very simple principle. However, Wei Hongfei and the others were not like Murong Yin. After trying to figure it out, they found it extremely difficult. Only Lu Ruyun's heart was as clear as a mirror. Even if the others understood this principle, without Xiao Chen's aura, it would be difficult for them to succeed. She couldn't help but be extremely curious in her heart. What exactly had happened to Xiao Chun for him to always be so calm, composed, and unperturbed in the face of danger to form such a powerful aura? However, there was no way for her to ask. Naturally, Xiao Chun would not tell her. This would probably trouble Lu Ruyun for a long time. "We're here. The two-star war chariot moved very fast. In less than half a day after entering desolate God Valley, it overtook many cultivators and arrived at the mysterious place sealed off by the heavenly lodging palace. It should be nearby. Wei Hongfei pointed in the war chariot to the front, where strong winds blew endlessly. The few of them could clearly feel that there were many powerful auras gathering in front of the scarlet sand. They did not know how many cultivators had gathered here from all directions. "Go through it," Xiao Chun said softly. Then, Lu Riyun controlled the war chariot and turned it into a beam of flowing light, shooting forward. After a while, the few people traveling through the scarlet sand suddenly saw something light up before them. They were all stunned by the scene in front of them. What appeared before them was a vast and ancient city. The marks of time lingered in it, but the city was intact without any damage at all. In the harsh environment of desolate God Valley, where ferocious beasts roamed freely, this was extremely incredible. A mysterious aura spread around the city, blowing away the endless scarlet sand that covered desolate God Valley all year round. This gave everyone a feeling of a glimmer of hope at the end of the tunnel, suddenly enlightening them. In the previous moment, the group's vision had been filled with hazy, scarlet sand. In the next moment, their eyes lit up, and a city appeared like magic. This is the secret that the heavenly lodging palace sealed off. Wei Hongfei exclaimed in shock. How can such a complete city appear in desolate God Valley? If it existed, people would have discovered it long ago. There have never been any rumors of it before. A hallucination. It must be a hallucination. Mu Rongyan rubbed his eyes, not daring to believe what he saw. Logically speaking, there was nothing strange about a city. However, it was impossible for such a thing to exist in desolate God Valley. It was like seeing a floating beach in the sea. The most shocking thing was the aura that this city gave off. It was extremely ancient, filled with the marks left behind by time. Situ Changfeng said sullenly, "It might not be impossible. Don't forget the origin of this desolate God Valley. The last great war between the righteous and demonic factions. During the previous great war between the righteous factions and demonic factions, it involved the powerhouses of the heavenly realm, resulting in the destruction of the heavenly realm and the fall of many true gods. This desolate God Valley is said to be a land of the fallen, where the corpses of deities are buried." Lu Ryu nodded and said, "I heard my father say that after one becomes a true god, one can materialize a small world into a nation, a world of its own. A strong true god can build a city in his own divine kingdom and bring in his followers, just like how the Buddhists worship believers. Perhaps a certain deity's corpse could not withstand the corrosion of time and completely rotted away. After the corpse disappeared, the divine kingdom was exposed, leaving behind such a city." Xiao Chun looked at the city in front. After he came out of the cabin, he remained silent, completely shocked by the scene before him. Through the memories that the blood-soaked Dragon Emperor left behind, Xiao Chun soon learned the origins of this city. This was the symbol of a true god, the symbol of the peak of the martial Tao, the dream of every cultivator. Youth, dreams, hot-bloodedness, and pride. Which cultivator on the path of cultivation did not have such a city in their heart? However, even a true god could fall. Their withered bones could not withstand the passage of time. A powerful true god, a peak immortal realm expert, left behind only a city after millions of years. That's not right. It is not that time left behind a city. It is time that snatched away my city. Chapter 1949. It was not time that left behind a city. It was time that was merciless, snatching away my city. No wonder the heavenly lodging palace wanted to seal off the news. A city left behind by a martial god. I really can't imagine what kind of vast, fortuitous encounter there is in there. If the people of the heavenly lodging palace's branch monopolize it. Wei Hongfei said softly as a fervent light flashed in his eyes. Only two words echoed in his mind. Martial god. Martial god. Martial god. It was not just Wei Hongfei. When the other adventurers saw this scene, they all had the same expression. After being stunned for a moment, they fell into a frenzy. Unlike Xiao Qin's melancholy, The others did not think too much. Only one word appeared in their minds. Fortuitous encounter. Murong smiled and said, Xiao Chun, why are you in a daze? Look, the others have already entered. Shouldn't we go in as well? Look at the cultivators rushing in from all directions. If we are any later, there won't even be scraps left for us. Xiao Chun recovered his wits and said calmly, There's no rush. If it were so easy to obtain fortuitous encounters, the heavenly lodging palace would have made a move long ago. There would be no need to wait until now. The 6 of us will split into 3 groups. After patrolling the city once, we will rendezvous here. Sidu Changfeng approved of Xiao Chen's cautiousness. Although we have to make every second count before fortuitous encounters, we know nothing about this ancient city. If we lose our lives, no matter how great the fortuitous encounter is, it will be useless. Wei Hongfei nodded and said, I'll team up with Duan Fei. We'll go south. Situ Changfeng smiled and said, In that case, I'll team up with Murong Yen. After that, only Xiao Chun and Lu Ruyun remained. They had no other choice. The group split up. Xiao Chun and Lu Ruyun headed for the North Gate. The entire ancient city gave off a mysterious aura. When Xiao Chun tried to send his spiritual sense in, it was like a rock sinking into the sea. There was no reaction at all. This feeling was extremely strange. If there really was a strong barrier, it should have blocked out spiritual sense. However, Xiao Chun could not figure it out. An ancient city left by a martial god? Interesting. I was just about to leave when I actually encountered such a fortuitous encounter. Not long after Xiao Chen's group left, a group of dragon race cultivators appeared. The person who spoke was Zhong Li, whom Xiao Chen's group met in the White Dragon Palace. Lu Yunfei, who had a special body constitution, seemed quite excited as he followed beside him. However, this group was clearly not led by Zhongli. The strongest was a golden dragon race cultivator. If Xiao Chen were here, he would not be unfamiliar with it either. I, Qin Outyin, am indeed blessed with great luck. I just obtained a fortuitous encounter and found another ancient city left by a martial god. This golden dragon race cultivator was Qin Outyin, whom Xiao Chun had beaten up in Blazing Sun Valley. It had only been a few months since they last met, and this fellow had actually grown stronger yet again. The only thing that did not change was the number of inheritance rings he had on his finger. The golden battle armor he wore was engraved with golden dragons. They were vivid and lifelike, as if they were swimming. Even without a deep understanding, one could tell that the golden battle armor was extraordinary. Let's go. Without even thinking, Qin Outyin strode forward, and the others quickly followed. The White Dragon Palace's Zhong Li was very experienced. He wanted to say something, but did not say it in the end. He wanted to say that this place looked strange and that they should not enter rashly. However, seeing Qin Outyin's interest, Zhong Li could not bring himself to say anything. Furthermore, they still had to rely on Qin Outyin to help them enter the city. Senior brother, do you think we will run into Xiao Chen's group? Lu Yunfei asked somewhat nervously. He felt that if Xiao Chen's group came to Desolate God Valley, they would definitely enter this city as well. Zhong Li said indifferently, "You better pray that I don't see him." Humph. Zhong Li had just obtained a fortuitous encounter, greatly increasing his strength. He was very confident that if he ran into Xiao Chun, he would be able to squash him to death with one finger. 1 hour later, Xiao Chun, Lu Ruyun, and Sidu Changfeng met up and explained what they saw. After Sidu Changfeng heard Xiao Chen's explanation, he said sullenly, "It looks like it is as I thought. The 4 city gates each have their own mysteries. We cannot enter rashly. We have to choose carefully." Xiao Chun looked around. The east gate in front of him had faint purple chi lingering around it. He could even see a faint spiritual light with the naked eye. It looked auspicious. However, there was an unremarkable tower on the city wall. It happened to be able to suppress the luck of the entire area. The auspicious gate was countered, but the auspicious gate was not auspicious. After Xiao Chun gave a simple explanation of his opinion, Situ Changfeng exclaimed in shock, "Xiao Chun, you have done some research on the dragon-seeking art?" Xiao Chen answered honestly, I know a little. However, don't overthink it. This ancient city appeared out of nowhere. There is nothing mysterious about it. I believe that this is a small trick that the original owner left behind. He knew that someone would come here, so he set it up. Every time we enter a gate, there will be a different test. There is no truly auspicious gate. Everyone has to go through a test. We just need to avoid the ominous gate. Right? I have the same opinion as well. However, speaking of which, why are Brother Wei and Brother Duan not here? Situ Changfeng asked, finding it strange. 1 hour had already passed, but the two still had not appeared. We are here. Right after Situ Changfeng spoke, Wei Hongfei and Duan Fei showed somewhat sullen expressions. When a group of people saw that we were dragon race cultivators, they attacked us without saying anything. Fortunately, our strength increased significantly during this period. Otherwise, we would not have been able to retreat unscathed. Wei Hongfei's expression was unsightly. Clearly, the earlier experience was not as simple as he made it out to be. That group of people seems to be observing the ancient city, just like us. They probably have accomplices. We have to be careful after we enter the city, Duan Fei analyzed. They attacked without saying anything? In that case, it looks like they are mortal enemies of the dragon race. That is good. It is better for them to expose themselves in advance than to be sneak attacked after we enter the city. The dragon race did not have many mortal enemies, but there were still many. Before they entered the city, there were already undercurrents. This was not a good sign. Let's enter through the south gate. The other 3 gates are fake auspicious and real ominous. The north gate is the true ominous gate. The west gate is very auspicious. However, it is hard to determine whether it is auspicious or ominous. The south gate is neither auspicious nor ominous. This is actually the best. After listening to what Wei Hongfei and Duan Fei saw, Xiao Chun made his choice. All right, let's enter through the south gate then. There was no way to fly above the city, so they could only enter through the city gates. What dense spiritual energy! Xiao Chun originally thought that this was a dead city. However, after entering, he discovered that it was very different from what he imagined. The spiritual energy in this city was even denser than the spiritual energy at the profound dragon platform in the Heaven Dragon Palace. So many years have passed, and the original master died long ago. I wonder what still maintains the spiritual energy in this city? Situ Changfeng said, feeling somewhat suspicious as he looked around. There are so many corpses. Many pairs of clearly lifeless cultivators wearing armor wandered the streets. Their flesh had already rotted away, leaving only empty skeletons wearing heavy armor. Some of them even rode skeleton horses, looking very scary. These were all cultivators who had followed the original master when he was alive. However, after they died, they existed in such a manner. This looked somewhat sorrowful. The spiritual energy was clearly abundant. However, these corpses told everyone that this was a dead city. The two seemed to contradict each other. The group had just entered the city when a group of wandering corpses charged at them. Clearly, there was no advantage in fighting with corpses. This was especially so for these corpses. They had followed the true God when they were alive, making them even more difficult to deal with after they died. Dang, dang, dang. All sorts of attacks landed on these corpses. Their armor clanged, but the corpses remained undamaged. Murong Yin punched one of the corpses' armor. That armor gave off a clump of light, actually neutralizing most of Murong Yan's fist light. What kind of armor is this? To think that the formations in it can still operate. This development startled Murong Yan. However, the corpses surrounding him did not react much, continuing to attack him. I'll burn you all to death. Red Dragon True Flame. Murong Yin sent out a fierce sea of fire. While it looked mighty, it was useless. Xiao Chun and the others were not the only ones in a bitter battle. The many cultivators who entered from the southern city could not even take care of themselves. Many of them cried out miserably. The corpses mercilessly killed them and dismembered them on the spot. The group had just entered the ancient city, and they already met with such an obstruction. This caught them off guard. The southern gate was already so dangerous. What would the ominous gate encounter? The group did not dare to imagine. Damn, what the heck is this? Quickly go back. Quickly go back. Qin Outyin and the others ran frantically. After they entered the eastern city, they discovered a blood rain falling from the sky. When the blood rain fell, it would automatically gather and form a blood monster. After killing the blood monster, it would quickly form again. Nearly half of the cultivators who entered from the eastern gate died the instant they entered the city. What was even more horrifying was that when the blood rain landed on the body, it would corrode the veritable essence energy. When the blood rain landed on the body, it would immediately corrode large amounts of flesh, revealing white bones. The weaker cultivators could not endure this blood rain at all. The stronger cultivators could hold on for a while at first. However, when they discovered that something was wrong, their veritable essence energy could not withstand this blood rain. Zhen Yuan simply could not withstand the consumption. The East Gate was simply a dead end. They could only retreat and take their time to think about it, choosing another gate to enter. However, there was also someone who slowly advanced with a calm expression amid the blood rain. That person wore white monk robes and held a string of azure beads in his hand. People continuously passed by him. There were people who could not endure the blood rain and were rushing back to the city. Great fortuitous encounters are bound to be places of great suffering. Let's see what is at the end of this path. This person wore white monk robes and had delicate features. He had a calm and serene expression. The middle finger and ring finger of this person's right hand were bent, and a string of azure Buddhist beads hung from the two fingers. The white-clad monk shouted as he performed a strange hand seal and pushed forward ferociously. Black Lotus secret technique, cleansing extermination. A light flashed, and a horrifying Buddhist might burst out from his hand. The Buddhist light burned and purified all the blood monsters charging at him, turning them into filth that spread out and could no longer reform. A lotus appeared under the white-clad monk's feet as he continued, walking forward calmly. As Qin Outyin and the others rushed back, they brushed past the white-clad monk. Zhongli looked at this person with some surprise. When Zhongli's gaze met, he felt a deep fear, so he quickly looked away. Where did this monk come from? Why is he so powerful? Why does that black lotus under his feet seem somewhat familiar? Chapter 1950. Good or bad luck was hard to determine, so one could not make a rash decision. Naturally, Xiao Chun understood this principle. If he were alone, he might have chosen the ominous gate as well. Those who were confident in their own strength would not be afraid of any danger. A place of great suffering would definitely have great fortuitous encounters. However, everyone was a team in this adventure. Since they were in a team, they had to consider the entire team. They had to integrate themselves into the team, becoming one with the entire team. At this moment, the team was in danger. Facing these damned servants gave them an incredible headache. Xiao Chun, are we going to form the 4 divisions formation and charge out? Wei Hongfei saw many cultivators working together to form a formation, not wanting to fight as they charged forward. Xiao Chun shook his head. The Divine Dragon 4 divisions formation was a trump card. There was no need to take it out so soon. Formations drained a lot of soul energy. The Divine Dragon 4 divisions formation could not be formed at any time. The South Gate was neither auspicious nor ominous. It was rather stable, so it should not be so difficult. There must be some detail that I missed. Bang! Bang! Vital chi surged as Xiao Chun punched. Each punch contained 60 cauldron force. However, such a great force could only push back these damned servants. The armor on their bodies negated too much of the energy. What kind of armor is this? Even Xiao Chun felt tempted when he saw it. He wanted to get a set for himself. It was nearly as good as the dragon pattern battle suit that he obtained from Qin Outyin. The difficulty lay in the armor. More accurately, it was the formations in the armor. No matter what kind of formation it was, it required energy to activate it. These damned servants had no intelligence, only combat instinct. They should not be able to activate the formations in the armor. In that case, who was maintaining the formations in the armor? Morong Yin, protect me. Got it. Morong Yin shouted, in through a few punches. Then he shouted at those damned servants, "Scram!" Murong Yin charged over to Xiao Chen's surroundings, helping him block the damned servants charging over. With Murong Yin protecting him, Xiao Chun sat cross-legged and closed his eyes, continuously spreading out his soul energy. Like a rock sinking into the sea, there was no reaction at all. However, he did not give up. He continuously drained his soul energy, doing his best to sense the fluctuations in space. I see it. After a short while, Xiao Chen's efforts finally paid off. His soul power sensed a mysterious energy source at the center of the ancient city. The unknown energy source emitted countless strands of soul power, constantly transmitting energy into the armor of these death attendants. It helped them maintain the operation of the array formation in the armor. Its soul power wasn't strong, but its penetrative power was extremely terrifying. I have an idea. Xiao Chen opened his eyes and said loudly, "Everyone, gather here. Let's stack our Tao might together." Although they did not know why Xiao Chen said those words, they did not ask him why. One by one, they quickly withdrew and landed around Xiao Chen. "Everyone, listen to me. Everyone, spread out your Tao might to a radius of 1,000 meters. Just 1,000 meters, no more and no less." Xiao Chen's eyes flashed with confidence, and he said in a deep voice, "I found a way to deal with these Deadpool." Murong Yin smiled and said, "I'll go first. Flame Dao he might call." Right after Murong Yin spoke, the Dao disc behind him gathered a spark and continuously rose. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a straight line. The Flame Dao's Dao might spread out, no more and no less, no more and no less, 1 kilometer. Wind Great Dao, Light Great Dao. Layers of Dao might layered over each other, forming a horrifying field within 1 kilometer of Xiao Chun and the others. Saber Great Dao, Thunder Saber Dao. Xiao Chun shouted, and the 2 Dao discs condensed into 1 point. Then, the Great Perfection Dao might of fire and lightning surged out. Boom! Instantly, a space similar to a Dao domain formed within 1 kilometer, immediately isolating the thousands of strands of soul energy coming from the unknown energy source. Dao domain was a strong field formed when one cultivated great Dao energy to a certain level. Xiao Chun had seen the Heaven Dragon Palace's Elder Tian Yin executed before and had a certain understanding of its might. Hence, he thought of this method. Although the layered Dao might of the group could not compare to a true Dao domain, it was more than enough to block those strands of soul energy with strong penetrative power. Lu Ruyun, Duan Fei, quickly make your move, Xiao Chun said softly. Then, the two did not use their Dao might immediately made their move. Falling leaves filling the sky, Lu Ruyun shouted and drew the short saber in her hand. A strong wind blew, and the falling leaves containing saber intent danced around. Whoosh, whoosh. As these falling leaves covered a large area, the armors of the death servants within 1 kilometer fell like paper. Success, Lu Ruyun said joyfully. She continuously brandished the short saber in her hand, sending out strands of saber chi. The death servants within 1 kilometer turned into skeletons, shattering on the ground. Xiao Chun, you are really something, Murong Yin exclaimed joyfully. Xiao Chun showed a calm expression as he said, "It's not over yet. Use your strength at the same time and expand the Dao might tenfold." All right, boom. When the Dao might's range expanded to 10 kilometers, the many cultivators enveloped by the Dao might felt not only the pressure from the Dao might, but they also discovered that the armor of the death servants shattered upon contact. They also discovered that the battle armor of the death servants, which was very troublesome to deal with, would shatter upon touch. They immediately rejoiced. The group could not maintain this for long. After a while, the Dao might shrank and returned to the bodies of Xiao Chun and the others. However, most of the death servants on the street died in a short time. Many thanks to our friends from the Divine Dragon Empire for helping us. After the cultivators who broke free expressed their gratitude, they quickly fled, afraid of getting surrounded by the death servants again. The danger was temporarily resolved. Wei Hongfei felt somewhat confused as he asked, Xiao Chun, why did you take the initiative to help the others deal with the death servants? They are our potential competitors. As long as they wanted to, they could have left the city and not died at the hands of these death servants. Xiao Chun pointed to the ancient city and said, This ancient city is so huge. We cannot explore too many places by ourselves. Furthermore, the more people we have, the more advantageous it is for us to face the strong rank 6 sects and the heavenly lodging palace. Doing what we can kill many birds with one stone. That makes sense. The explanation made the others' eyes light up, feeling that this was indeed the case. After this, we will split up and explore. If there are any major discoveries, send a message. As long as the core disciple identity cards of the Dragon's Gate's branch palaces were unlocked, they could communicate with each other. This was very convenient in this ancient city. Xiao Chun could tell that such an arrangement was due to the vastness of the ancient city. Wei Hongfei and the others wanted to try their luck. Their recent increase in strength gave them the confidence to do so. You, stop right there. Xiao Chun called out to Lu Ruyun and said, Come with me. Lu Ruyun asked in dissatisfaction, Why? You relied on me to kill those death servants earlier. If no mortal enemy of the dragon race appeared, given your strength and trump cards, I would not mind letting you roam around on your own. After all, people have to grow up eventually. However, this time, it is not up to you. Xiao Chen's forcefulness forced Lu Ruyun to follow him obediently. Go out by yourself. With a wave of his hand, the demon blood vulture turned into a flash of scarlet light. Then, it circled around Xiao Chun a few times before flying out excitedly. When Lu Ruyun saw this scene, she said angrily, I am not even comparable to a stupid bird. That's right. In certain aspects, you are indeed inferior. Xiao Chun continued as he walked forward. The demon blood vulture's life force was much stronger than Lu Ruyun's. Defeating it would not be difficult. However, killing it would be somewhat difficult. You, Xiao Chen's casual words angered Lu Ruyun to no end. She gritted her teeth in anger. The ancient city was filled with fortuitous encounters of various sizes. The southern city seemed to be a place for refining pills. Many of the palaces had intact pill furnaces and sealed pill bottles. However, the death servants here were alchemists with strong soul energy when they were alive. After they died, they were even more problematic. Dealing with them was rather problematic, taking up a lot of time. An alchemic recipe. Xiao Chen's face lit up in joy. After exploring 10-odd palaces, he finally obtained a pleasant surprise. He found a jade strip on one of the death servants, which recorded the alchemic recipes of many ancient medicinal pills. After checking it out, Xiao Chun carefully put it away. This thing would be very useful in the future. Xiao Chun, quickly come over. Someone discovered a medicinal spring here. There seems to be a pill river as well. Just at this moment, Murong Yan's voice came from the identity token. He had discovered a great fortuitous encounter. Let's go. Xiao Chun and Murong Yan did not dare to delay, rushing over. Chapter 1951. Medicinal Spring? Pill River? The southern city was littered with alchemy houses. Xiao Chun had guessed that there would be a medicinal spring or a pill river as the core of the entire southern city. Unexpectedly, someone found them so quickly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Figures flew about in the silent southern city. Countless people leaped from roof to roof, rushing towards the medicinal spring and pill river. There were restrictions in the city that suppressed Xiao Chen's physical body. It would not be easy to rush over quickly. However, these restrictions did not suppress Xiao Chun and Lu Ruyun, who possessed the dragon race bloodline, as much as ordinary cultivators did. What a dense medicinal fragrance. Did someone break the barrier around the medicinal spring already? As Xiao Chun and Lu Ruyun approached, they smelled a refreshing medicinal fragrance at the same time. Their fatigue was swept away, and they felt refreshed and comfortable. Lu Ruyun exclaimed in shock. The quality of this medicinal spring is probably at least grade 8 heaven ranked. Compared to the medicinal spring in our ancestor dragon city, it is already equal. Heaven ranked was the highest grade of many medicinal pills, spirit veins, cultivation techniques, magic skills, and secret techniques in the Great Thousand Realms. For example, heaven-ranked medicinal pills, heaven-ranked war chariots, heaven-ranked spirit veins, heaven-ranked secret techniques, and so on. Grade 8 heaven-ranked was second only to Grade 9 heaven-ranked. The two held their breaths and did not say anything as they sped up. After 15 minutes, they met up with Murong Yin, Wei Hongfei, and the others on the roof of a pavilion. After exploring for a while, they should have gained something. However, compared to the medicinal spring and Pill River, they were not worth mentioning. Murong Yin pointed to the front and said, "Look." When the two looked in the direction Murong Yin pointed, they saw a vast herb garden in the distance. A spring gushed continuously in the center of the herb garden. A natural medicinal fragrance spread out in all directions, gushing endlessly. Not far below, there was a wide pill river. A viscous green liquid flowed slowly in the river. Indeed, it was a pill river and a medicinal spring. Who knew how many heaven-ranked medicinal pills were piled up in the pill river for it to reach such a horrifying level? Aside from the medicinal spring and pill river, there were many abandoned herb fields in the herb garden. Many medicinal herbs were left to rot in the soil because no one took care of them. It made people's hearts ache. Not far from the medicinal spring, there was also a towering tree. It was too far away for Xiao Chan to see clearly. From time to time, mottled spiritual mist would rise from the herb garden, obstructing one's vision and preventing them from seeing the entire herb garden. Just now, a human king blasted open a hole, and a huge amount of medicinal power leaked out. However, that hole quickly healed. Right now, everyone is waiting. No one dares to act rashly. Murong Yin had arrived earlier and understood this place better than Xiao Chun and the others. It's that person. Sovereign personage? Sovereign personages had a total of 4 stages. Initial perfection, small perfection, great perfection, and peak. Sovereign personages were not like star venerates and holy venerates. Every minor cultivation realm was like a layer of heaven, an insurmountable existence. Even in ancient desolate town, sovereign personages were rare existences. Any faction would treat them with respect. In a rank 6 sect, a sovereign personage could directly become an inner sect elder. In the 4 dynasties, a sovereign personage could be conferred nobility. Xiao Chun soon discovered that the person Murong Yin mentioned was not very old, looking like a middle-aged man. This person stood upright with his hands behind his back, frowning as he looked at the herb garden. It looks like the barrier is not easy to break. Come, let's go over and take a look. As they were too far away, Xiao Chun could not figure out the barrier. So, he quickly led the group over. After a while, they arrived at the herb garden's entrance. Where did this trash come from? Do you think that just anyone can come to the herb garden's entrance? Boom! The moment Xiao Chun landed, he suffered an attack. A peak holy venerate gray-robed old man attacked him. When the gray-robed old man raised his hand, his might spread out. His veritable essence energy surged, and his aura was boundless. Xiao Chun snorted coldly. Then, he raised his hand and punched, clashing with the gray-robed old man without fear. Bang! When the fist and palm met, they were actually equal. Soon, the gray-robed old man felt that Xiao Chen's fist light was somewhat strange. The fist contained saber intent that continuously tore apart the gray-robed old man's veritable essence energy, trying to invade his body. Although the gray-robed old man's veritable essence energy was vast, it seemed that no matter how much veritable essence energy there was, it could not block this strange veritable essence energy. The gray-robed old man quickly withdrew his hand and retreated. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The moment Xiao Chun landed, a few people stood out from behind the gray-robed old man. They did not look like they were going to let this go, wanting to continue attacking Xiao Chun. Trying to bully me with numbers? Murong Yin and the others were not willing to fall behind. They landed behind Xiao Chun one after another. Their extraordinary auras immediately put pressure on the other party. Dragon race cultivators. The gray-robed old man felt slightly startled. He quickly retreated, not daring to say anything else. Only now did Xiao Chun discover that aside from that sovereign personage, there were several other people near the herb garden's entrance. Those who could remain here were all strong teams. Otherwise, they would not be able to come down. Without strength, how could others share the loot with them? Aside from the human king, the others were in groups of 2 or 3, forming their own teams. The middle-aged sovereign personage looked indifferently at Xiao Chen's group and said softly, "We have enough people. Attack together and break the barrier. Apart from you all, I, Lu Yuanzong, will kill anyone who dares to enter the spirit formation." Although his voice was soft, everyone within 50 kilometers could hear him clearly. Xiao Chun felt a cold, killing intent, and there was a strong sense of threat in that casual tone. Only now did Xiao Chun and the others understand why this sovereign personage did not make a move. It turned out that he could not break the herb garden's barrier with his own strength. He had been waiting for a team that caught his eye. Only those who caught his eye were qualified to enter the herb garden. It had to be said that he was very domineering. However, as a sovereign personage, Xiao Chun was indeed qualified to be so tyrannical. Senior Lu is right. Senior Lu, please instruct us to attack that point at the same time. The gray-robed old man who attacked Xiao Chun earlier said in a flattering manner. Right here. Boom. Lu Yuanzong pointed with his finger, and a strand of resplendent sword qi with motes of starlight shot out. The instant the sword qi appeared, everyone near the herb garden's entrance felt their hearts tighten. The terrifying sword intent was startling. Xiao Chun entered deep thought. This casual finger strike equaled 30% of his attack power. Even a small perfection sovereign personage could not be underestimated. Pusii. When the sword qi entered the herb garden's barrier, it only left a crack that was neither large nor small. Furthermore, it quickly mended. Boom, boom, boom. After Xiao Chun and the others found out where to attack, they did not hesitate to attack. Immediately, dazzling attacks shot towards the crack Lu Yuanzong had opened. Before everyone's expectant gazes, a hole finally appeared in the herb garden's barrier. Then it continued to spread. But in the end, the hole was only the size of a bowl, and it began to quickly close up. The crowd simply could not enter the herb garden successfully. Damn it, you bunch of trash. Seeing that so many holy venerate experts could not break the herb garden's barrier, Lu Yuanzong could not help feeling enraged. Unless one has a soul tool, there is no way to break this herb garden's barrier. Xiao Chun, who had been secretly sizing up the herb garden, suddenly spoke up. Who do you think you are? Is there a place for you to speak here? The gray-clad old man who did not get along with Xiao Chun earlier scolded. Could it be that you are even more incredible than Senior Lu? Xiao Chun did not get angry. He replied softly, I do not dare. However, I'm still slightly stronger than you. People who cannot even receive one punch from me are not qualified to speak. You are seeking death. The gray-clad old man roared, wanting to attack Xiao Chun again. Scram! Lu Yuanzong shouted coldly. Then, he waved his hand and knocked back the gray-clad old man. Then, he looked at Xiao Chun and asked, You have a way to enter the herb garden? Xiao Chun looked at the herb garden's entrance and said, Unless one has a soul tool, no one can force their way in. I believe that Senior Lu must have tried all sorts of methods before we arrived. Lu Yuanzong's heart skipped a beat. How did Xiao Chun know? Indeed, Lu Yuanzong was the first to discover this herb garden. He had tried using his peak strike, but he could not break the barrier. He could only wait for more people to arrive before attacking together to see if there was a chance. Who knew? It still did not work. Could it be that we cannot enter? Many people showed pained expressions as they looked at the herb garden within reach. The fortuitous encounter was right before them, but they could not grasp it. How could there be anything more painful than this? I said that we cannot force our way in. I did not say that we cannot enter using other methods. Xiao Chun continued when he saw everyone's expressions. What? Quickly say it. Quickly say it. If you have a method, don't hide it. That's right. The group of people immediately argued endlessly, trying to get Xiao Chan to quickly tell them the method. Only Lu Yuanzong asked calmly, "What do you want?" Xiao Chan pointed to the towering tree in the herb garden and said, "That tree belongs to me. The rest depends on your own ability." "All right." Lu Yuanzong thought for a while. Then, he looked at Xiao Chun and decisively agreed. Chapter 1952. Xiao Chun, are you confident? Lu Riyun asked somewhat worriedly. Although Lu Yuanzong did not say anything, he would not end up well if he offended a sovereign personage. "Don't worry. It's fine." After Xiao Chun observed the barrier of the herb garden for a long time, he confirmed that it was a formation from the blood-soaked emperor's memories. This formation was called the Essence Sealing God Locking Formation. If it were at the beginning, even a faux god would not be able to break it. However, after so many years, the might of this formation had weakened. Now, one could break it with a soul tool. Xiao Chun did have a soul tool, and more than one. However, he clearly would not take it out in front of so many people. It would not be difficult to break this formation. Xiao Chun looked around and said, "Who has formation flags? Lend me some." "Damn, I thought that you were really a formation master. In the end, you don't even have formation flags. Can you do it?" With one look, I can tell that he is bragging. We might as well try again. There is no need to trouble him. These words immediately incited many people's dissatisfaction. To think that Xiao Chun did not even have formation flags. Lu Yuanzong looked around and asked, "Are there any formation flags? If there are, hand them to him." Formation flags were one of the tools that formation masters used to lay formations. Ordinary cultivators only knew some simple formations and did not need tools. However, there were many people here, so there were always exceptions. After the sovereign personage spoke, Xiao Chun received 10-odd formation flags of various sizes. Including the dozens of formation flags that Xiao Chun already had, he barely had enough. When Lu Yuanzong handed the formation flags to Xiao Chun, he revealed a suspicious expression but did not say anything. Xiao Chun wiped away the spiritual mark in the formation flags and infused his spiritual sense into them. After familiarizing himself with them, he started. The main purpose of the Essence Sealing God Locking Formation was not to defend against enemies, but to seal the natural essence of the world and lock down the souls of all things. It was laid here to prevent the spiritual energy of the herb garden from leaking out. After some herbs gained spirituality, it would help them stabilize their souls. As long as one understood its mysteries, it would not be too difficult to break it. Whoosh! As Xiao Chun continued to make hand seals, the array flags turned into rays of light and disappeared into the distant ground. Xiao Chun's spiritual sense followed the array flag and spread out on the ground. He instantly sensed a huge array formation. Spiritual light overflowed in all directions, vast and boundless. Relying on his knowledge of the formation, he avoided the streams of light and inserted the formation flags into the key nodes. After everything was done, sweat appeared on Xiao Chen's forehead. He looked at the herb garden's barrier and said, "I have temporarily taken control of the formation. All you need to do is merge your quintessence with the aura of the herb garden, and you'll be able to enter." Lu Yuanzong remained silent. He took a step forward and placed his hand on the spirit formation barrier. He closed his eyes and breathed in a wisp of the spiritual energy in the herb garden through the barrier. He was surprised to find that his arm had silently passed through the barrier. Success! Everyone was pleasantly surprised and cheered. However, Lu Yuanzong was not in a rush to enter. He looked at Xiao Chun and asked, "How do we come out?" "That's right. This barrier was not forcefully broken. In that case, if they wanted to come out, wouldn't they still be restricted by Xiao Chun?" In the end, a sovereign personage was more thorough and meticulous. Xiao Chun said calmly, "This is an essence sealing formation. It does not affect the physical body. After we enter, we do not need to absorb too much of the herb garden's spiritual energy and can directly walk out. Of course, if you do not listen to my advice and absorb too much of the herb garden's spiritual energy, you will not be able to force it out of your body. Don't blame me if you cannot walk out. I'll trust you one more time." Lu Yuanzong did not say anything more. He was not too worried. He also had some trump cards that he could use, but he wasn't willing to use them. Furthermore, as long as he kept an eye on Xiao Chun, the other party would not be able to play any tricks. Please. Lu Yuanzong smiled playfully and gestured for Xiao Chun and the others to enter first. There's no need to worry. Let's go in. Xiao Chun's expression did not change. He placed his palm on the barrier and sent in a trace of the herb garden's aura through the barrier. Then, he successfully entered. After stepping into the herb garden, Xiao Chun directly forced out the trace of the herb garden's aura from his body. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. People continuously entered the herb garden. Immediately, they were stunned by the dense spiritual energy and could not help wanting to absorb it. However, when they thought of Xiao Chen's warning, they swallowed their saliva and forced themselves to resist. Damn, this weed actually has spirituality. It is already comparable to a heaven-ranked herb. I wonder how much medicinal dregs are contained in this black soil. If we just casually dig up some, we will be able to grow herbs more efficiently in the future. I wonder if there is any way to refine medicinal energy from this black soil? That would be unrivaled. Just a bunch of useless people. Just casually grab a handful. Let's quickly go to the herb spring. Right. After entering the herb garden, everyone felt dizzy from excitement. Some people even ignored their image and dug up the rotten soil in the herb fields. They hoped that they would be able to dig out some intact medicinal herbs. Even if they could not, the value of the black soil would be very high. However, after being reminded, the crowd quickly executed their movement techniques and rushed to the herb spring in the center of the herb garden. Ha ha! Suddenly, someone laughed loudly. It was the gray-robed old man who did not get along with Xiao Chun. Before him was the tree that Xiao Chun had his eyes on. When the others saw it, they also laughed loudly. Only the trunk of that tree remained. It was riddled with holes and rotten beyond repair. There was no sign of life from it. It was clearly a worthless dead tree. Ha ha! Brat, your eyes are indeed unique. The gray-robed old man mocked as he looked at Xiao Chun. I was wondering what it was. After all this time, it turns out to be a rotten tree. No, we should thank this tree. If not for this tree, we would not have been able to enter the herb garden. The gray-robed old man jeered, eliciting laughter from the crowd. What are you saying? Bunch of bastards. If not for Xiao Chun, none of you would have been able to enter this herb garden. Morong Yin roared as he pushed away the people surrounding the tree. His voice was very loud, and it immediately silenced the others. But who would have thought that after this angry shout, the others would be stunned? However, who could have imagined that after this roar, the rotten, towering tree would crumble and turn into a small mound of ashes, completely crippled? The others were stunned for a moment before bursting into even louder laughter. Ha ha, this won't do. I'm having a stomachache from laughing. Let me take a break. This idiot, he's really stupid to the max. This is great. There's not even a single strand of hair left. Murong Yan's expression immediately turned extremely unsightly, feeling incredibly embarrassed. He had not expected such a situation. He turned his head and said, Xiao Chun, what kind of eyes do you have? What tree did you choose? Xiao Chun replied calmly, I remember that your red dragon palace should have one. However, it is normal that you do not recognize it. This tree is of a much higher grade than the one in your red dragon palace. A coiling dragon tree? Murong Yan's expression suddenly changed. As he looked at the pile of ashes, he exclaimed, Red dragon true flame. Whoosh! Murong Yin sent out a wave of dragon flames. As the dragon flames burned the ashes, they glistened and turned into strands of seven-colored dragon chi circling the dragon true flame. A seven-colored coiling dragon tree. It really is a seven-colored coiling dragon tree. A coiling dragon tree that can bear seven-colored coiling dragon fruits. As the ashes burned, a young sapling slowly appeared. Whoosh! Xiao Chun reacted quickly, grabbing the sapling and placing it in a brocade box to nourish it. Murong Yan's eyes popped out. It really is a seven-colored coiling dragon tree. The one in our red dragon palace can only bear red coiling dragon fruits. Xiao Chun, if you offer this tree up, I wonder how the Dragon's Gate will reward you. It is simply unimaginable. Xiao Chun retorted indifferently. I have no intention of handing it up. A coiling dragon tree. It is actually a coiling dragon tree. The group of people who mocked Xiaochen earlier were all stupefied. Unexpectedly, it was such a precious sapling. Hand over the coiling dragon tree. The gray-clad old man's group immediately could not take this lying down. They ferociously charged over and surrounded Xiaochen and the others. Many other cultivators became restless, their eyes flickering with murderous intent. I gave you face, but you rejected it. Xiaochen had already endured this old man for a long time. Now that this old man jumped out, he snorted coldly and directly attacked. Xiaochen immediately threw a palm strike. Firmament's rage carried a colossal hand that held up the sky. Its fingers were like sabers flickering with electric light as it pressed down. What martial technique is this? This greatly startled the gray-clad old man. Horror flashed in his eyes as he watched the colossal hand pressing down from the sky. He retreated frantically. The others nearby hurriedly dodged, one after another. However, no matter where the gray-clad old man ran, he could not avoid the colossal hand that approached. The gray-clad old man fell heavily to the ground. When the hand vanished, his body was riddled with thousands of wounds, all of them flickering with electric light. The gray-clad old man was already half dead, completely losing his combat prowess. With one move, Xiaochen defeated a peak holy venerate, completely shocking the others. The Dragon's Gate's secret technique, Firmament's Rage. I have not seen it for many years already. Unexpectedly, there is someone in the Divine Dragon Empire's younger generation who can reach the second layer. Are you interested in exploring this medicinal spring with me? It might have one of the 5 elemental energies you need, the heavenly spirit water. Shock flashed in the sovereign personage Lu Yuanzong's eyes as he looked at Xiaochen. Chapter 1953. Firmament's Rage had been stuck at the second layer because he had not found the 5 elemental energies. Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. There were 5 different elemental energy sources. The heavenly spirit water was one of the water-attributed energy sources of the 5 elements, so he could explore it. Xiaochen, it is best to maintain a distance from this person. I feel that he is not a good person. Lu Ruyun sent a voice projection to Xiaochen as she sized up Lu Yuanzong. Xiaochen replied, "There is no need to be afraid. I am confident of dealing with him. Although he is strong, he cannot do anything to me. Furthermore, there are no good people in this world. Everything depends on one's heart. There will probably be many experts in this medicinal spring. You can take this opportunity to collect all the other resources in the herb garden. Senior, please." Xiaochen stepped forward and gestured for Lu Yuanzong to enter. Lu Yuanzong did not show any fear. He leaped into the medicinal spring. Xiaochen quickly followed after, leaping into the water. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The stronger and more ambitious people in the herb garden quickly followed suit and jumped into the medicinal spring. Of the remaining people, only Lu Ruyun's group remained. They were the strongest. As Xiaochen expected, they were strong enough to collect the remaining natural treasures in the herb garden. Gurgle, gurgle. Natural medicinal springs were extremely difficult to find in the Great Thousand Realms. Once they appeared, they would attract the various strong factions to fight over them and bring them into their own sections. This medicinal spring was a grade 8 heaven-ranked medicinal spring. Its value was inestimable. The group leaped into the water, and the medicinal spring entered their bodies. They all felt a warmth. As their physical bodies absorbed the medicinal spring, they automatically tempered their bodies, mended their hidden injuries, nourished their internal organs, and refined their veritable essence energy. At first, it was incredibly warm. However, after 1 kilometer, this warmth became somewhat scalding. The temperature rose continuously, reaching an extremely horrifying level. Xiaochen had no choice but to gather veritable essence energy to block this heat wave. The rate at which veritable essence energy drained increased rapidly. Xiaochen's heart could not help but sink. If he continued diving, the moment his veritable essence energy was completely drained, the high temperature would cook him. Since even Xiao Chun had such concerns, the others who jumped down naturally felt very nervous as well, feeling somewhat conflicted. Among the group, only Lu Yuanzong, a sovereign personage, was more relaxed and did not have many concerns. What exactly is below? Xiao Chun felt depressed. At the same time, he could not help feeling curious. The most likely outcome was naturally an underground flame vein. Right at this moment, Lu Yuanzong, who was at the very front, stopped descending. The few of them landed around him and looked down, only to see endless spiritual light bursting out from the ground below. The scene was incomparably shocking. Their vision was filled with a vast expanse of whiteness. He could feel that the medicinal energy of the entire medicinal spring was flowing downwards like a flood from a broken dam. Compared to this, the power of the medicinal spring they had felt on the surface wasn't even a drop in the ocean. Veritable flame, saint spirit. Someone asked curiously. According to the records, the bottom of the medicinal spring should not be like this. Dragon, essence, energy. Spirit said. Lu, essence, energy, Xiao said. When the natural spirituality of the medicinal spring disappeared, it would become a wasted spring. Lu Yuanzong said indifferently as he quickly descended. Xiao Chun could not help thinking to himself, this fellow is crazy. Then, his body quickly descended. Xiao Chun could not help thinking, this fellow is crazy. After some time, Xiao Chun felt his body empty. He opened his eyes and looked down, startled. When he came into contact with that light, Xiao Chun felt his body descend uncontrollably, sucked in. The first thing that entered Xiao Chen's eyes was a boundless flame. 9 fiery lights, as resplendent as stars, looked exceptionally piercing. Xiao Chen looked around. When he saw clearly, he was shocked to discover that there was an incredibly huge medicine cauldron below. Below them was an incomparably huge cauldron. That cauldron was probably the size of a city and was incomparably frightening. Boom! The vast spiritual energy from the medicinal spring poured into the medicine cauldron together with Xiao Chun and the others. In that instant, a fierce flame flared up in the medicine cauldron. Danger! Xiao Chun quickly controlled his body and turned into a flash of lightning, flashing away. Miserable shrieks rang out. A few people could not dodge in time and were vaporized on the spot, not even leaving ashes behind. In the blink of an eye, there were only a few people left alive. Without exception, the others either vaporized by the flames or fell into the medicine cauldron, unable to control their bodies. Astral cores. Lu Yuanzong exclaimed excitedly as he looked at the resplendent starlight in the medicine cauldron. Could it be that the resplendent flames are the astral cores? Xiao Chun could not help feeling horrified. A medicinal pill refined with so many astral cores. What kind of medicinal pill was being refined in this medicine cauldron? There was also the medicinal spring. The entire medicinal spring was serving the medicinal pill refined in this medicine cauldron. Over the past tens of thousands of years, who knew how much spring water containing medicinal energy had been infused in? Xiao Chun sized up the surrounding caverns. His expression could not help but turn grave. In those herb fields, countless rotting spirit herbs had accumulated medicinal energy. Finally, all of it settled in the cave and was used by the array formation. Ha ha ha! A divine pill. What is being refined here must be a divine pill that surpasses heaven-ranked medicinal pills. If I snatch this divine pill, it will be just a matter of time before I become a sovereign emperor. That's not right. I might even become a faux god and rank on the divine sovereign wind ranking. The experienced and meticulous Lu Yuanzong sank into a frenzy at this moment. Xiao Chun could not help feeling startled. This fellow had probably suppressed himself for too long. Now that he suddenly saw such a fortuitous encounter, all his suppressed emotions erupted. Suddenly, Xiao Chun saw Lu Yuanzong's bewitched eyes sweep over the lucky survivors. Oh no, this old fellow is going to find someone to scout the way. Before Lu Yuanzong could lock his gaze on Xiao Chun turned into a flash of lightning and quickly fled. Clearly, fighting a crazed sovereign personage was not rational. Why is this fellow running? Just as the others felt confused, They heard Lu Yuanzong say, "The few of you, don't leave. Go down and scout the way." Lu Yuanzong suddenly flared up, and his sovereign personage will spread out. The group was instantly struck, and they vomited a mouthful of blood as they crashed into the cave walls. Lu Yuanzong used his full power suddenly. Although the survivors were experts, they could not dodge in time. "No, I don't want to go down. It's not up to you." "Ha ha ha." Xiao Chun heard miserable cries. Lu Yuanzong must have tossed someone into the medicine cauldron. As he moved further away, he could no longer hear anything. This medicine cauldron was even taller than a tall mountain. Xiao Chun could not care too much about it. He turned into a flash of lightning and descended continuously. By the time it landed, an entire quarter of an hour had already passed. Only after landing here did he feel somewhat safe. He did not dare to think about facing a madman above. Xiao Chun could only observe a moment of silence for those who were not smart. Splash! Before Xiao Chun could size up the scene below, he heard the sound of flowing water. His heart immediately skipped a beat. Where there was water, there was a river. Where there was a river, one could make it out. Xiao Chun knew his limits and would not touch that divine pill. Unlike Lu Yuanzong, Xiao Chun was extremely firm in his heart for the martial Tao. Even without this divine pill, Xiao Chun firmly believed that he could become a faux god and stand at the peak of the martial Tao. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Xiao Chun's figure flashed, and he arrived at the source of the sound. What he saw startled him. The water was flowing out from the bottom of the medicine cauldron. However, what flowed out was not water, but the dregs of the divine pill. While it was called dregs, it was probably comparable to many high-ranked medicinal pills. So, this is how the pill river above is formed. As Xiao Chun watched the dregs continuously gather and turn viscous like the pill river above, he suddenly understood. Thinking about it carefully, this entire herb garden was actually in service of this divine pill. Even if everything else was added up, it would not be worth mentioning compared to this divine pill. With this thought, Xiao Chun's thoughts became clearer. In that case, my 7-colored coiling dragon tree should be serving this divine pill. I wonder what use it has. After strolling around the underground, Xiao Chun discovered many simple residences. There should have been people living there in the past. What is that? Suddenly, Xiao Chun discovered a person standing at the fire entrance below the medicine cauldron. Chapter 1954. Why did I not notice a person standing there all this while? There were only two. Either it was a small perfection sovereign personage, much stronger than an initial perfection sovereign personage like Lu Yuanzong. Xiao Chun could not sense the other party's presence at all. Otherwise, it was a dead person. Xiao Chun sent out a strong wind, and that person fell over. Indeed, it was more or less as Xiao Chun guessed. If it were a small perfection sovereign personage, Xiao Chun would have taken him down first. Whoosh! Xiao Chun gently leaped to the side of that person. After hesitating for a moment, he flipped the corpse over. Just as he had expected, it was just a skeleton covered in armor and clothes. No matter how incredible one was when one was alive, one would not be able to escape the clutches of time after death. One would eventually become a skeleton. Hey! Xiao Chun pushed the skeleton aside and discovered a few blurry words on the ground. After trying to figure them out for a long time, he read softly, "Pill becoming vast?" Xiao Chun, who had just felt that something was wrong, came to his senses in the next second. His expression changed drastically. The pill had become demonic, not the pill had become light. It was not that Xiao Chun had never seen a medicinal pill gain a demonic nature and sentience before. However, for a divine pill to become demonic, how strong would it be? Just thinking about it made him tremble in fear. Xiao Chun looked around, and his expression changed. Everything felt foreign. This was not an alchemy room, but a cage that imprisoned a demon. Xiao Chun could not remain here for long. He could forget about any fortuitous encounters. If he could escape alive, everything would be worth it. Boom! Just as Xiao Chun was about to leave, several figures flew down from above the medicine cauldron. That's not right. They did not fly down. Someone flung them down with a huge force. Before Xiao Chun could react, 3 explosions rang out on the ground, accompanied by the sound of metal clashing. The sounds echoed for a long time in this spacious place. The 3 figures that descended were bound in chains. Flames burned all over their bodies as they roared like wild beasts. These people had ferocious gazes, losing all rationality. These 3 people... Xiao Qian's complexion changed slightly. He suddenly remembered that these 3 people seemed to be the first to be directly rushed into the alchemy furnace by the medicinal spring. How did he become like this? He looked like he had lost all signs of life, like he was a corpse. Furthermore, it was being controlled and sealed by chains. Was it Lu Yuanzong? No, that was not right. Lu Yuanzong did not have such great strength. With his initial sovereign personage cultivation, he could not have done this. It was that divine pill. Yes, it must be that peerless divine pill that possessed a demonic nature. These people had all become pill furnaces. The trio cried out in pain as their auras became even more terrifying. Vaguely, Xiao Qian's aura reached that of a sovereign personage. The flames covering his body turned black, looking like a demon from hell. Die! 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 Whoosh! The 3 roared ferociously and charged at Xiao Qian, showing no fear or rationality at all. Xiao Qian's heart sank. He knew that he was in great danger. If he was not careful, he could die here. He needed to end this quickly. Otherwise, when Lu Yuanzong became a pill slave and charged at him, it would be problematic. Taiji Yinyang Flame Diagram. Xiao Qian's eyes lit up with 2 resplendent lights, one golden and one snow white. The primal chaos heavenly flame and the heavenly snow divine flame burned at the same time. The 2 lights formed a magnificent Taiji Yinyang flame diagram in front of Xiao Qian, blocking the 3's attacks. Primal chaos, veritable essence, energy, Taiji universe. Xiao Qian's hands moved, not holding anything back. His primal chaos, veritable essence, energy, circulated wildly. His demonic chi, veritable essence, energy, and spiritual energy, veritable essence, energy, filled his entire body. A Taiji diagram appeared under Xiao Qian's feet, complementing the Taiji diagram in front of him. As Xiao Qian drained his veritable essence energy, the Taiji Yinyang flame diagram in front of him gave off a bright light. Gradually, the 4 divisions and the 8 trigrams formed. Yinyang for divisions and the 8 trigrams. When the mysterious phenomenon of the Taiji diagram finished forming, Xiao Qian shouted, "Taiji explosion!" Boom! The Taiji Yinyang flame diagram directly exploded. The 3 pill slaves with auras comparable to sovereign personages got blasted into the air. If it were an ordinary cultivator, this berserk strike would have shattered the other party's bones, killing them on the spot. However, the physical bodies of these pill slaves seemed to have been modified to something like a profound tool. They were incredibly hard, not something ordinary cultivators could compare to. Whoosh! The pill slave shook the black chain in his hand, and a flame immediately appeared on the medicine cauldron. It was just one spot, but when it landed, it turned into an unending rain of fire, covering the sky and the sun. This flame might contain the demonic nature of the divine pill, so Xiao Qian did not dare to touch it. He stood on the lightning dragon, and his figure turned illusory. Electric light shot out as he easily dodged the flames. However, the rain of fire did not stop. There was no end to it. The pill slaves did not care. As the flames bathed them, their injuries actually healed. The degree of horror made one's hair stand on end. Bang! When fighting with the pill slaves, Xiao Qian was shocked to discover that if he did not activate his divine dragon war body, the other party's physical strength was even greater than his. Great Tao Might, Thunder Great Tao, and Berserk Saber. Xiao Qian's face sank. He activated the Saber Great Tao and Thunder Great Tao at the same time, layering them and strengthening his might. Boom! 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 Xiao Qian's aura clashed with the 3 pill slaves, producing thunderous explosions that rang out endlessly. Right now, Xiao Qian's only advantage was that the 3 pill slaves had lost their rationality. Although they were rude and unreasonable, they were riddled with openings. Their attacks were even more chaotic. I have to make him stop this rain of fire. The endless rain of fire restricted Xiao Qin's movement technique, forcing him into a passive position in his fight with the pill furnace. Thousand Frost Battle Snow. Xiao Qin executed a killing move that he had learned in the Kunlun realm. He circulated the ice feather divine incantation, and snow instantly fell like falling leaves, covering the ground. The snow and flames merged, and the surrounding temperature dropped significantly, giving Xiao Qin a lot of space to maneuver. Now is the time. Xiao Qin did not want to delay any longer. His figure flashed, and he turned into 9 bolts of lightning, rushing over. The lightning bolts turned into dragons. In that instant, 9 dragons soared into the sky. The dragons crashed into the 3 pill slaves. The huge impact, along with the electricity, sent the 3 pill slaves flying. Whoosh! The 9 dragons merged into one, and Xiao Qin did not stop moving. He ruthlessly smashed down with firmament's rage. The fingers of the colossal hand were like sabers. Electricity flickered, covering the sky and sun. Once it landed, there was nowhere to run. Boom! Under the chain of attacks, the 3 pill slaves cried out in pain as their bones shattered and burned to ashes. Whoosh! 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 When Xiao Qin saw the 3 souls, he wanted to flee. However, terrifying laughter came from the medicine cauldron. The souls howled in pain as they were dragged into the medicine cauldron, letting out even more miserable cries. Xiao Qin's face sank slightly. This was his first time seeing such a terrifying existence that was hard to deal with. Even the souls were imprisoned, becoming slaves for all eternity. With the danger averted, Xiao Qin thought of something. His figure flashed, and he arrived beside that corpse. He searched around on his divine mountain. After a while, he found an ancient bronze plate with some profound words on it, recording something. Xiao Qin had seen some of these words in the blood-soaked dragon emperor's memories. They were ancient words from the beginning of the martial epic. The blood-soaked dragon emperor did not recognize many of them. Xiao Qin relied on his memories and recognized them with much difficulty. Great desolate 10,000 beast pill. Xiao Qin's expression immediately changed. He knew that this was an extremely horrifying medicinal pill. This was a divine pill refined by gathering the essence, souls, and blood of 10,000 kinds of ferocious beasts from the great desolate Aeon, and supplementing it with divine herbs that were tens of thousands of years old. Just the ingredients alone were hard to find. This was no longer the great desolate Aeon, but the epic epic. Epics came and went. It was unknown how many epics passed before the martial epic arrived. The difficulty of finding the descendants of 10,000 great desolate Aeon ferocious beasts in the martial epic was easy to imagine. Furthermore, the supplemental herbs were incredibly precious. Even a true god would find it as difficult as ascending to heaven to collect them all. To think that someone really wanted to refine such a divine pill. Legend had it that once this divine pill was refined and consumed, it could reverse one's bloodline and trace one's origin, reverting to the primal chaos god-demon. Based on the current situation, the refinement of this medicinal pill clearly failed. In Xiao Qin's opinion, this was just wishful thinking, going against the heavens. It was simply impossible to accomplish this. Not only would it fail, but it might even result in a great disaster. This divine pill tainted with a demonic nature before Xiao Qin horrified him. If it was released, it would be a horrifying disaster. Without even thinking, Xiao Qin directly tossed the ancient bronze plate into the fire like a medicine cauldron. This would completely destroy this harmful medicinal pill recipe. Xiao Qin continued searching the corpse. He felt that there should be some other things left. Just at this moment, the black chains binding the pill cauldron behind him twisted like a snake and silently crawled toward Xiao Qin. Chapter 1955. Inside the herb garden. When Murong Yin and the others worked together, they were nearly undefeatable. Without a sovereign personage, they were overlords among holy venerates. The divine dragon bloodline in their bodies was a powerful killing weapon. No one dared to compete with them. The few of them monopolized close to 80% of the harvest in the herb garden, reaping a bountiful harvest. Why is Xiaochen not back yet? Lu Riyun said somewhat worriedly as she collected the spring water in the medicinal spring. As she looked at the gurgling spring water, she felt somewhat worried. Wei Hongfei smiled at the side and said, "Don't worry. He is very lucky." Back then, when he was alone in the abyssal underworld battlefield, even Rakshasa Tion's clone could not do anything to him. This time, he'll be fine as well. Lu Riyun said, however, that Lu Yuanzong is a sovereign personage. Although he is only an initial perfection sovereign personage, he is not someone that we wholly venerate can match. The difference is still too great. When the difference in cultivation was too great and there was a huge disparity in strength, no matter how many trump cards one had, it would be useless. The moment a sovereign personage's will of soul appeared, they could suppress them on the spot. No matter how many trump cards one had, one would not have the space to bring them out. No matter how unrivaled Xiaochen was among the holy venerates, there would always be a huge difference. There would naturally be a huge gap between Xiaochen and a sovereign personage. Wei Hongfei asked seriously, "Do you want to hear my opinion?" When Lu Riyun saw Wei Hongfei, she showed a serious expression and asked, "What opinion?" Wei Hongfei said unhurriedly, "I keep feeling that Xiaochen is still hiding a side that we do not know about in the strength we revealed. The strength that we have displayed has always been restrained, like he is purposely hiding it, not willing for others to know about it." Lu Riyun said, "Are you doubting Xiaochen? How can you do that? After all, he saved your life before." Wei Hongfei sighed softly. "Naturally, I know. However, I can only tell you these opinions. So, there is no need to worry too much about Xiaochen. Even if he is not an enemy sovereign personage, I think it should not be difficult for him to leave easily. Without us by his side, we can bring out his strength without any worries." Lu Riyun entered deep thought at Wei Hongfei's words. She felt that what he said made sense. In fact, the feeling that Xiaochen gave her was also a layer of fog. There were many things that she couldn't see through. What made her feel strange was that Xiaochen's face perfectly matched the outline of her sister's blank painting. She wouldn't believe that there was no mystery to it, even if you beat her to death. Just as the two of them were about to continue their conversation, the medicinal garden's spirit formation barrier suddenly suffered an intense attack. The entire herb garden was shaking. The expressions of Lu Riyun and Wei Hongfei changed at the same time. They looked up and said, "Someone is using a soul tool to attack the herb garden's barrier. What happened? Who is it? To think that it is a soul tool. Could it be the 6 great sects? Didn't they all go to the city center? Why are they still using soul tools to attack the herb garden?" The cultivators collecting resources in the herb garden all panicked. Before the attacks of the soul tools, they had nowhere to run. "Assemble!" Wei Hongfei shouted, and Murong Yin and the others quickly gathered over. Their expressions all appeared somewhat grave. Boom! Another horrifying attack tore a huge hole in the herb garden's barrier. Then, a few figures quickly entered. The person in the lead held a resplendent sword in his hand, emitting a powerful pressure that shook the surroundings. Ice Cloud Sword. It's the ruling sword Gates people. The expressions of Lu Riyun and the others changed slightly. The ruling sword gate cultivator holding the Ice Cloud Sword was Qi Yunfeng, whom they had interacted with before. "Ha ha ha! Look, look! What did I discover? A herb garden left by a true god. We are going to strike it rich." Qi Yunfeng looked at the medicinal spring and then at the Pill River. His face lit up with joy. His senior and junior brothers behind him also felt incredibly joyful. They said, "Congratulations, senior brother Qi. The value of this herb garden is even more than our earlier harvest combined." "Thinking of leaving?" "Everyone, don't move." Seeing that someone wanted to sneak away, Qi Yunfeng quickly swung the sword in his hand. The fleeing person's aura locked onto that person's, and his soul immediately froze. That person looked no different from an ordinary person. However, his body was incredibly stiff, like he was fixed in place, unable to move. "Shatter!" Qi Yunfeng shouted, and that person immediately shattered into countless pieces of ice. Then, strands of terrifying icy sword chi burst out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Sword chi surged everywhere, and the expressions of the cultivators in the herb garden changed drastically as they scrambled for cover. Some of the cultivators could not dodge in time. The sword chi pierced their bodies and quickly sealed them in ice, turning them into statues. Behave yourselves. Our senior brother Chi doesn't want to go on a killing spree and take your harvest from the herb garden. Hand over all your harvest from the herb garden, and you can leave. Otherwise, you saw what happened to these people. A ruling sword gate disciple behind Chi Yunfeng threatened coldly. Senior brother, there are a few Divine Dragon Empire cultivators over there. They blocked those sword chi. What? Chi Yunfeng looked around and immediately fixed his gaze on Lu Ruyun and the others. After being stunned for a while, he guffawed. Ha! Interesting, interesting. Unexpectedly, we meet again so soon. You bunch of Divine Dragon Empire bastards. Are you still not going to hand over your harvests? Do you guys want to die? Seeing that the other cultivators were still in a daze, unwilling to hand over their harvest from the herb garden, the other ruling sword gate disciples became enraged. Murong Yin retorted indifferently, "Hand over my ass. You're just relying on a soul tool to intimidate others. Without this sword, this old man can teach you how to behave." Chi Yunfeng smiled coldly and said, "Even at death's door, you still dare to be stubborn. If I do not teach you a lesson, you will not know how powerful I am. Everyone else can leave. Today, I will leave you all behind. Many thanks, young Master Chi. Young Master Chi, you are really bold. Young Master Chi really has good eyes. Their group occupies more than 80% of the natural treasures in this herb garden. We're just small fries." When the other cultivators in the herb garden heard this, they rejoiced and quickly fled. Let's test his strength first. If it is just an ice cloud sword, given our strength, there is nothing to fear. He will not be able to bring out much of its might. Situ Changfeng's voice rang out in everyone's minds. Should we leave? We cannot leave for now. We still do not know what state Xiaochun is in. If his combat prowess is weakened after he comes out, it will be somewhat problematic for him to face this ice cloud sword. Yes, Wei Hongfei's voice rang out in everyone's minds, sounding incredibly calm. Die. However, Chi Yunfeng did not give them much time to think. The moment he saw the others flee, he immediately attacked. As Chi Yunfeng circulated the ice cloud sword, the ruling sword gate disciples behind him did not dare to be careless. They all executed their secret techniques, continuously draining their soul, energy, and veritable essence energy to infuse into the ice cloud sword. It turned out that Chi Yunfeng was not the only one controlling this sword. Instead, these people were controlling it at the same time. Clearly, the ruling sword gate's upper echelon wanted this group of people to wield the soul tool and sweep through the resources of the other regions, while the various large sects headed to the city center to search for that mysterious energy source. It had to be said that this move was quite brilliant. Even sovereign personages feared the might of a soul tool. Even if they could bring out only 10 or 20% of its might, it would already be horrifying. Boom! When this sword chopped down, Murong Yin and the others blocked it for a while before getting knocked back. The sword light flowed, and the icy sword chi gave everyone the impression that they could not block it. More importantly, the ice cloud sword's sword might spread out in all directions, covering the entire herb garden and greatly suppressing everyone's strength. Murong Yin wiped off the blood from a corner of his lips. An intense flame burned all over his body, dispersing the cold. He smiled and said, "You are rather strong. However, that is all there is to it. Chi Yunfeng, put in more strength. Don't tell me that you are only capable of this. You bastard. This old man will kill you. Ice Cloud Sword, soldiers at the gates." Murong Yan's mockery enraged Chi Yunfeng. He activated the secret technique of the soul tool and locked it on Murong Yan. "Good job. It is time for us to make a move." It turned out that the group had agreed to let Murong Yin attract the firepower while they took down Chi Yunfeng in one go. Murong Yin did not dare to be careless when facing the secret technique of a soul tool. He instantly activated his great desolate Ian bloodline and executed the blood-devouring dragon fist. Murong Yan's entire body burned with a scarlet light as he sent out a blood dragon fist light to clash with the blazing sword intent. Damn it, I fell for it. Activate the sword might and protect me. When Qi Yunfeng attacked, he knew that he fell for a trick. He saw Wei Hongfei and the other three charging at him like beams of cold light, startling him. The other ruling sword gate disciples quickly made their moves, forming their own sword arts. Finally, before Lu Ruyun and the others arrived, the Ice Cloud Sword's sword might retracted and encased the group. Boom! All sorts of chaotic dragon race martial techniques struck the sword might. The sword might only lasted for a moment before breaking. Qi Yunfeng and the others immediately went flying. They all vomited blood and fell to the ground. However, the sword might blocked most of the damage. Although they were in a sorry state, they did not suffer any major damage in the end. When Lu Ruyun and the others saw this scene, they felt slightly disappointed. They quickly retreated to protect the severely injured Murong Yin. Ha! Qi Yunfeng, you really embarrassed our rank 6 sections. To think that you cannot destroy a group of holy venerates with the Ice Cloud Sword. Whoosh! 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 Just at this moment, many figures suddenly appeared in the herb garden. The true inheritors of the other 3 rank 6 sects all rushed in. Every leading disciple held a soul tool in their hands. The situation instantly turned exceptionally chaotic. You all, Qi Yunfeng felt greatly startled. Unexpectedly, so many soul tools appeared in one go. Humph! Do you think that your ruling sword gate is smart and that the people of the other rank 6 sects are fools? We have been following behind you. Ha! Do you really think that you are unrivaled? This herb garden is ours. Chapter 1956. Inside the cave, under the medicine cauldron, Xiao Chun flipped the corpse over and found a jade pendant on the armor. His eyes immediately lit up. The instant Xiao Chun held it in his hand, he immediately felt a warmth. What a wondrous feeling. However, before Xiao Chun could send his spiritual sense into it, he suddenly sensed an extremely dangerous aura. Xiao Chun's expression changed drastically, and he quickly turned around. Whoosh! 3 black chains instantly wrapped around Xiao Chun like black lightning. One of the black chains bound Xiao Chun's feet, and the other 2 bound his hands. Damn it! Xiao Chun's heart sank. He felt like he could not move at all as a huge force continuously pulled him upward. At the same time, strands of evil energy came from the black chains, continuously invading Xiao Chun's soul pool, trying to corrode his soul. Just the force of the black chains already made Xiao Chun feel weak. This soul energy that corroded the soul was even more difficult to deal with. Xiao Chun could only rely on his willpower to resist. Whoosh! Soon, Xiao Chun was pulled back into the air above the medicine cauldron. The mysterious existence controlling the chains pulled him back into the medicine cauldron. Divine Dragon War Body. Break! At the crucial moment of life and death, Xiao Chun finally expelled the energy corroding his soul. Then he shouted. Vital Qi surged in Xiao Chun's body, roaring like a river. His body suddenly swelled up, and his dragon might soared. A pair of azure-colored dragon wings crackling with electricity spread out, and all the chains on his body broke. Roar! Dragon roars rang out continuously in the empty cave. The dragon might, on Xiao Chun's body, soared to the level of an initial perfection sovereign personage. Whoosh! 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 Suddenly, 4 or 5 figures charged out of the medicine cauldron's flames. The leader had an overwhelming aura as he roared ferociously. This person forced back Xiao Chun's dragon might. This person was the sovereign personage Lu Yuanzong. Black chains also bound his body, and a crazed look flashed in his eyes. Haha, Xiao Chun, to think that you have not left yet. Since you haven't left, then stay and become the pill god slave. Let's flatten the entire world together. To think that Lu Yuanzong could still maintain some rationality. He was very different from the other berserk and ruthless pill slaves. Xiao Chun could not help but frown. Such an existence combined with Lu Yuan's own strength would likely be even more difficult to deal with. Wonder. Ha ha ha. Right now, I am even stronger than a small perfection sovereign personage. As long as you offer your soul to Lord Pill God, you can obtain everything you want. Lu Yuanzong smiled proudly when he saw the expression on Xiao Chen's face. Whoosh! Too lazy to bother with this madman, Xiao Chun flapped his wings, stirring up a strong gust of wind as he flew far away. Lu Yuanzong alone was already difficult to deal with. With the addition of the others, it would probably be even more difficult to deal with. Their chances of victory were slim. You want to leave? This is the Pill God's world. You can't leave. Lu Yuanzong snorted coldly. Pill fire blazed all over his body, making him look neither human nor ghost as he charged at Xiao Chun. His speed was no slower than Xiao Chen's. Dang! 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 After Lu Yuanzong caught up, he quickly attacked, forcing Xiao Chun to turn around. After receiving 10 moves, he vomited a mouthful of blood and went flying back. Just as Xiao Chun was about to land, he flapped his wings and hovered in the air. Do you feel the Pill God's strength? Do you feel a flame attacking your heart? It is very painful, but there is nothing you can do about it. Ha 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 ha. Lu Yuanzong teased as he looked at Xiao Chun like a crazed demon. 10 strands of pill fire rushed to Xiao Chen's heart like venomous dragons. The pill fire burned his meridians, feeling like thousands of poisonous needles stabbing at him. Just at this moment, Xiao Chun felt a warmth from the jade pendant in his hand as it drew in all the pill fire in his body. Boom! After absorbing the pill fire, the jade pendant gave off a bright light. Xiao Chun felt a strange pull, like he could control that mysterious, mountain-like medicine cauldron. Rumble! The entire medicine cauldron shook intensely. Heaven and earth shook in the cave, and countless flames poured out. A terrifying and deep voice came from the medicine cauldron. Kill him! Kill him! Kill him! Yes, Lord Pill God. Lu Yuanzong's expression changed drastically as he charged at Xiao Chun. At the same time, pill slaves continuously flew over from the medicine cauldron, radiating terrifying auras as they tried to surround and attack Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun dodged continuously as he sent his spiritual sense into the jade pendant. It turned out that this jade pendant was used to store the medicine cauldron. This made sense. The medicine cauldron before Xiao Chun was huge, nearly the size of a mountain range. Ordinary storage rings would not be able to store it. One needed to use additional means to control it. At the same time, this jade pendant could control the flame in the medicine cauldron. Controlling the jade pendant meant controlling the medicine cauldron. However, it was practically impossible for Xiao Chun to completely control the jade pendant in such a short time. Furthermore, with Xiao Chen's veritable essence energy, he could not drive the vast flame in the medicine cauldron. That was the flame released by the astral core. One needed to be at least a divine vein sovereign emperor. The jade pendant had only one use for Xiao Chun. He no longer needed to worry about the pill flame in his body when he fought with Lu Yuanzong. Xiao Chun could control this weak pill flame as he pleased with the jade pendant. The medicine cauldron shook continuously. The existence in it appeared extremely enraged. Those pill slaves did their best to kill Xiao Chun. At the crucial moment, Xiao Chen's heart turned increasingly calm. Everything in this garden seemed to have a purpose. While everything looked casual, they actually had a deep meaning. The herb fields were used to stabilize the medicinal energy in the surrounding caves, and then the formations were used to transfer it. The medicinal spring was for maintaining an abundant supply of medicinal energy into the medicine cauldron at all times. The pill river was formed after the medicinal dregs of the divine pills were discharged. What about the coiling dragon tree? Xiao Chun felt like he thought of a crucial point, and his thoughts became increasingly clear. Suddenly, inspiration flashed in Xiao Chen's mind, and he revealed a smile. So, that was the case. The coiling dragon tree was used to suppress the demonic nature of the medicinal pill. The coiling dragon tree was divine dragon wood in the first place. The seven-colored coiling dragon tree was of high grade and could be used to suppress the demonic nature of this great desolate 10,000 bees pill. That must be the case. The herb garden's owner was very meticulous. Everything in this herb garden was connected. How could the owner not think of a way to suppress the demonic nature of the great desolate 10,000 bees pill? However, this coiling dragon tree withered because no one cared for it, resulting in the demonic nature of this medicinal pill. To think that you dare to get distracted. Die. Lu Yuanzong saw Xiao Chun, who had been extremely nimble since he unfurled the blue dragon divine wings. Pause for a moment. Lu Yuanzong snorted coldly and gathered a ferocious might. Then a fist light that shook space flew over. However, just as the fist light was about to strike Xiao Chun, the blue dragon divine wings with lightning coiling around it folded together. The wings layered over each other in front of Xiao Chun, encasing him and using the dragon wings to receive the other party's punch. Bang! A surging dragon might surged out, knocking Lu Yuanzong back. Flames rained down from Lu Yuanzong's body. An electric light burst out, blasting his body beyond recognition. After this strike, Xiao Chen's bones contracted and squirmed. He withdrew his divine dragon war body, returning to his original form. What kind of dragon might is this light of freedom? As Xiao Chun looked at that medicine cauldron, he turned into a flash of lightning and charged over. Then, he turned into a lightning dragon and flew up the medicine cauldron. After a while, he revealed himself at the edge of the medicine cauldron. When Xiao Chun looked down, he saw a terrifying existence in the blazing flames. It looked like it wanted to charge out of the flames and swallow him up. Xiao Chun did not panic. He took out the brocade box and tossed down the seven-colored coiling dragon tree sapling. Whoosh! The grade 8 heaven-ranked medicinal spring above Xiao Chen's head poured out vast medicinal energy again, instantly infusing it into the seven-colored coiling dragon tree sapling. Immediately, the seven-colored coiling dragon tree grew at a visible pace. Then it fell down and suppressed that pill demon. The sapling sprouted branches and leaves. In the blink of an eye, it was 1 kilometer tall. The coiling dragon tree was incredibly thick, its roots firmly planted in the flames. Unexpectedly, the coiling dragon tree could even absorb the energy of this astral flame to nourish itself. Xiao Chen recalled that the coiling dragon tree in the Red Dragon Palace seemed to use flames as nourishment. Hence, it was not strange that this seven-colored coiling dragon tree used flames as nourishment. Miserable cries came from the medicine cauldron as it shook continuously. The chains on the pill slaves flying at Xiao Chan fell off. All of them were like flowers that lost their nourishment, instantly withering. No! Lu Yuanzong cried out in horror. However, he could not change anything. His life force drained away, and his body continuously withered. A sovereign personage died just like that, paying a heavy price for his greed. Chapter 1957. The true inheritors of the 4 rank 6 sects all held soul tools as they guarded a corner in the herb garden. The original situation of the ruling sword gates, Qi, Yunfeng dominating the herb garden, turned into 4 people fighting for supremacy. If it were just the ruling sword gate, even if Qi Yunfeng had a soul tool, Murong Yin and the others would not fear him. Even if they could not defeat him, they could still leave at any time. However, now that the people of the 4 rank 6 sects, the ruling sword gate, the Northern Mountain Academy, the Wolf Smoke Pavilion, and the White Sun sect, appeared, things became somewhat problematic. They could not leave even if they wanted to. Friends from the Divine Dragon Empire, we do not have any personal grudges with you. You can leave after offering up half the resources in the herb garden. Don't even think about the rest of the medicinal spring and pill river. The true inheritor of the Northern Mountain Academy, who was dressed like a white-clad scholar, spoke indifferently as he held a folding fan in his hand. The White Sun sect and the Wolf Smoke Pavilion both expressed their agreement with the white-clad scholar's suggestion. They would not go overboard with Murong Yin and the others. The strong preyed on the weak. Given that they held a great advantage, This group of people was already very generous in asking Murong Yin and the others to hand over only half the resources. Of course, this was because Murong Yan's group was a disciple of the Dragon's Gate. If it were loose cultivators or disciples of other sects, not to mention half the harvest, it would already be very fortunate if they did not hand over the resources that belonged to them in the first place. Situ Changfeng and Wei Hongfei discussed for a while and came to an answer. They could only do this. However, the reason for their hesitation was that Xiao Chan was still in the medicinal spring and had not come out yet. They could not contact him with the Dragon's Gate's identity token, so they did not know what happened. This worried them. Suddenly, Qi Yinfeng said with a cold smile, "You fellows, stop pretending to be good people before me. If you knew that their group monopolized a demonic blood thousand-winged snake's corpse 7 days ago, would you still make such a decision?" What? The moment Qi Yinfeng said that, the expressions of the white-clad scholar from the Northern Mountain Academy, the wolf-armored cultivator from the Wolf Smoke Pavilion, and the pretty woman from the White Sun sect changed slightly. A demonic blood thousand-winged snake, an overlord-class ferocious beast that is worth more than 10 million primeval heavenly pills. As they looked at Murong Yan's group, greed immediately appeared in their eyes. To them, Murong Yan's group was like sparkling gold. Ha ha ha! Qi Yinfeng. Oh, Qi Yinfeng, you hit it extraordinarily well. You are really broad-minded. I'm afraid you didn't even tell your own group of junior brothers. You're quite a loner. The leading wolf-armored cultivator from the Wolf Smoke Pavilion held a strangely shaped, ferocious, and tyrannical dragon-tooth saber as he mocked. Qi Yinfeng said coldly, "Cut the crap. The most important thing now is to keep this group of people here. You're just a bunch of Dragon's Gate Outer Palace disciples. I don't know what you are afraid of. Just kill them." Shua, the white-clad scholar, silently opened the folding fan in his hand, and the might of a soul tool slowly spread out. He smiled faintly and said, "Sorry, as the saying goes, it is better to offend a gentleman than a vile person. Sometimes, provoking an existence like Brother Qi is really a troublesome matter." Humph. A bunch of hypocrites. None of them are good people. Lu Riyun frowned slightly as she looked coldly at the others. However, she did not show any fear. As the White Dragon King's daughter, she naturally had many life-saving trump cards that the White Dragon King left on her. However, once she used them, her father would definitely find out. Now, she had no choice but to use them. This girl is rather good-looking and has a fiery character. If you're willing to follow me, I might be happy and let you all go. The wolf-armored cultivator from the Wolf Smoke Pavilion looked at Lu Ruyun, desire flashing in his eyes. The girl before him gave off a special air. She looked valiant, and her facial features were exquisite. Aside from being pleasing to the eye, she also gave off a different air. "Dream on," Lu Riyun shouted, and a saber light turned into countless flying willow leaves. Then they gathered into a white dragon. The white dragon flew towards the wolf-armored cultivator. Boom! The white dragon appeared very suddenly. When the wolf-armored cultivator swung his saber at it, he got knocked back because he underestimated his opponent. The willow leaves scattered. Tens of thousands of willow leaves scattered with the wind, whistling away. When the willow leaves pierced through the wolf-armored cultivator, his body was covered in wounds and blood. A terrifying murderous intent appeared in the wolf-armored cultivator's eyes, and his expression turned extremely sullen. However, the white-clad scholar's expression suddenly changed. He looked at Lu Ruyun and said, "Willow Leaf Saber, what is your relationship with the White Dragon Holy Daughter?" "Humph. No matter who you are related to today, I will personally kill you." The wolf-armored cultivator roared and unsealed the dragon-tooth saber in his hand. Boom! The might of a soul tool surged out. Whoosh! 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 Wei Hongfei and the others quickly shielded Lu Ruyun. They all made their moves, preparing to deal with the strike of this soul tool, the dragon-tooth saber. Just as the battle was about to erupt, a towering tree suddenly sprouted from the center of the gushing medicinal spring. The tree frantically absorbed the spiritual energy in the herb garden, growing at a visible rate. The coiling dragon tree blocked the horrifying strike of the dragon-toothed saber. Rumble! The entire herb garden was shaken by the sudden change. Cracks even appeared on the ground. What's going on? This sudden appearance of the coiling dragon tree startled everyone. The white-clad scholar and the others held up their soul tools and cautiously retreated to a corner of the herb garden. This is a coiling dragon tree. The eyes of the pretty woman leading the White Sun sect exclaimed as her eyes lit up. This coiling dragon tree has a very strong life force. To think that it directly bore fruit. What exactly is going on? Just as the true inheritors of the 4 rank 6 sects felt confused, someone with sharp eyes suddenly exclaimed, "Look, there's a person on the tree." Doubt flashed in the wolf-armored cultivator's eyes as he quickly squinted. Indeed, there was a person holding a simple and unadorned treasure bow. That's not right. That bow is aimed at me. The wolf-armored cultivator's expression changed dramatically. A threat of death that he could not get rid of appeared in his heart. He shouted, "Protect me! Protect me! Quickly! Help me activate the dragon-tooth saber secret technique." However, by the time the wolf-armored cultivator reacted, it was already over. The Wolf Smoke Pavilion true inheritors at the back had just formed hand seals when the arrows from the god shadow bow shot out. Shio! The shadow of a god was invisible and formless. Ordinary people couldn't even see the trajectory of it. Bang! The wolf-armored cultivator's dragon-tooth saber was blasted away. A horrifying wound appeared on his chest. He was crippled on the spot. If not for the soul tool in the wolf-armored cultivator's hand blocking most of the impact, the wolf-armored cultivator would have died on the spot. His companions behind him were affected by the shock waves and were sent flying while vomiting blood. A soul tool. This bow is a soul tool. Furthermore, its grade is even higher than ours. The Northern Mountain Academy's white-clad scholar, the White Sun sect's pretty woman, and the ruling Sword Gate's Chi Yunfeng were all startled. As the wolf-armored cultivator struggled to get up, he suddenly discovered a gaze on him. Immediately, he felt like he had fallen into an ice cave. A chill invaded his body, chilling his limbs and bones. Xiao Chan was looking at him coldly, expressionless and silent. I'll go now. Fear lingered in the wolf-armored cultivator's heart, unable to disperse. His voice trembled somewhat. Don't offend people you should not offend. Don't say things you should not say. It is too late to leave now, Xiao Chan said indifferently. Earlier, in the medicinal spring, he happened to hear the wolf-armored cultivator say good things to Lu Ruyun. At that moment, the wolf-armored cultivator was already a dead man in Xiao Chen's heart. The wolf-armored cultivator's heart turned cold. He explained, "There must be some misunderstanding. I can explain." Seeing that Xiao Chen seemed to want to kill, the white-clad scholar said, "This brother, do not go overboard. We are from the nearby rank 6 sections. If you kill him, you will offend the Wolf Smoke Pavilion. You can forget about leaving this ancient city alive." Xiao Chan said sullenly, "Is that so? However, not only do I want to kill him, but I also want to spare you." The saber intent silently permeated the wolf-armored cultivator's body. Then, Xiao Chan stretched out his hand and clenched it. Thousands of saber lights burst out of the wolf-armored cultivator's body, which had already been severely injured by the god shadow bow. He died on the spot, turning into mush without a corpse remaining. "Senior brother," the Wolf Smoke Pavilion disciples cried out in horror. The white-clad scholar paled in fright. He could not help taking a step back. He said, "You are seeking death. If the 3 of us work together, you will not be able to survive." Whoosh! Right after the white-clad scholar spoke, Chi Yunfeng flew off on his sword. While the white-clad scholar was distracted by Xiao Chun, he led the ruling Sword Gate disciples in fleeing for their lives. When the White Sun sect's people saw that the situation was bad, they also fled far away. The white-clad scholar's face immediately drained of all color. His heart sank. Chapter 1958. Bang! 2 loud sounds rang out. It was not Xiao Chun continuing to attack. Instead, it was the White Sun sect disciples and the ruling sword gate disciples crashing into the herb garden's barrier. The two sect disciples flew out too fast. In the end, they crashed even harder, falling to the ground. What's going on? This barrier does not look like it is meant to seal the inside. The expressions of Chi Yun Feng and the others changed slightly, revealing confused expressions. Earlier, they had seen those cultivators run out without any obstruction. Naturally, the reason was that these people had been absorbing the spiritual energy in the herb garden for a moment after entering. The spiritual energy in their bodies had completely merged with the herb garden. After Xiao Chen's warning, the others did not absorb the spiritual energy in the herb garden. Naturally, they could walk out easily. Damn it! How can it be like this? Chi Yin-Feng cursed. However, he did not say anything more. He prepared to gather the ruling sword gate disciples and attack with their soul tools. Sorry, I did not intend to let you go. Firmament's rage. Xiao Chun directly threw a palm strike. The fingers of the gigantic hand were like sabers, flickering with electricity. Then it smashed down with the rage of a great desolate Ian ancestor dragon. You're going too far. Chi Yin-Feng felt incensed. He could only change the direction of the ice cloud sword attack to clash with this horrifying palm strike. Bang! The instant the gigantic palm landed, the ice cloud sword pierced through the soul tool. However, Chi Yin-Feng and the others showed extremely unsightly expressions. This was especially so for the sect disciples at the back. Blood leaked out of their lips. Senior brother, we have already overdrawn on our veritable essence energy. If we continue, we will overdraw on our soul energy. Even with the strength of a few people, a soul tool was not that easy to control. Chi Yin-Feng looked at Xiao Chun and said, Xiao Chun, what exactly do you want? The White Sun sect's pretty girl, the Northern Mountain Academy's white-clad scholar, and Chi Yin-Feng all felt somewhat anxious from Xiao Chun. If this continued, they would end up in a life-and-death struggle, fighting with their lives on the line. When the white-robed scholar saw that the other two did not succeed in leaving, he heaved a sigh of relief. He looked at Xiao Chun and said, Xiao Chun, don't go overboard. Even a corner dog will jump over a wall. Don't force people into a corner. Lu Ruyun and the others could not help feeling nervous. They leaped onto the coiling dragon tree and stood behind Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun looked at the white-clothed scholar and said with a snicker, So what if I'm forced into a corner? Do you still want to fight me to the death? Do you dare? If you dare to risk your life, you would have done so long ago. Why do you need to deceive yourself? You want to fight to the death? I, Xiao Chun, am afraid of everything, but I am not afraid of fighting to the death with you people. Whoever dares to move, I will see. Xiao Chun twirled the god shadow bow in his hand and locked onto the three. The others were so frightened that they took a few steps back. Their faces darkened, and they didn't dare to say anything. God Shadow Bow. As the three looked at the soul tool in Xiao Chen's hand, they revealed horrified expressions as they fought to the death with Xiao Chun. They did not know whether Xiao Chun could survive or not. However, if Xiao Chun used his full power on the bow in the other party's hand, they would definitely die. Fighting to the death was just a pretense to deceive themselves. If they did not even believe themselves, how could they scare Xiao Chun? They could only mock them. As the three looked at the white-clad, expressionless Xiao Chun on the coiling dragon tree, they felt uncertain. They could sense a strong aura from Xiao Chun. This caused them to feel the pressure that could only be felt when facing the elders of the sect. Their mental state and cultivation were on a completely different level. Xiao Chun took in the reactions of the three. Disdain flashed in his heart as he said, My request is very simple. Do what you did to my companions earlier. The moment Xiao Chun said that, the white-clothed scholar and the others were startled. Xiao Chun wanted them to spit out all their gains from earlier. This could not be tolerated. Young Master Xiao, these are our gains in the ancient city. Leave them all. Before the three could say anything, the Wolf Smoke Pavilion disciples who had lost their leader took out the natural treasures they had obtained in the ancient city and placed them on the ground. Xiao Chun waved his hand, and an opening appeared in the herb garden's barrier. Those people felt like they were relieved of a heavy burden. Then, They picked up their dragon-tooth sabers and rushed out. Such a scene was inconceivable to the white-clad scholar and the others. How could Xiao Chun control the Garden's barrier? They needed to use a soul tool to open an opening. To think that Xiao Chun managed to do it easily with a casual wave of his hand. The white-clad scholar's heart immediately thumped. His final bit of courage was gone. The white-clad scholar's expression turned sullen. After discussing with the others, he took out the resources and placed them on the ground. Every time the white-clad scholar took out a portion, his heart bled. He went for wool and came home shorn. Originally, he wanted to make a huge profit from this group of dragon race cultivators. Who knew? He ended up losing his gains. Is that enough? The white-clad scholar asked through clenched teeth. Xiao Chen nodded and gestured for them to do as they pleased. With a thought, an opening appeared in the herb garden's barrier and let them out. Following that, the White Sun Sect's people were forced to do the same. They handed over their gains and left as well. Qi Yunfeng's expression changed unpredictably, appearing uncertain. He felt extremely depressed and upset in his heart. Qi Yunfeng originally thought that this was a rare chance to turn the situation around. Unexpectedly, he ran into this group of dragon race cultivators again. Not only could he wash away his previous humiliation, but he could also recoup his losses with interest. Who could have imagined that the moment Xiao Chun appeared, the situation would instantly turn around? Senior brother, we already overdrew on our veritable essence energy. The ruling Sword Gate disciples behind complained bitterly. The ruling Sword Gate disciples at the back complained bitterly. The Ice Cloud Sword was very powerful, but it was not easy to control. The few attacks exhausted these people's veritable essence energy. Shut up. Do you think I don't know? Qi Yunfeng cursed as he took out the resources and placed them on the ground. His heart filled with sullenness and displeasure. When it was about time, Qi Yunfeng looked at Xiao Chun and angrily said, "Green robes should not flow forever. Xiao Chun, just you wait. Don't let me run into you again. Let's go. You talk too much." Xiao Chun immediately became slightly angry. Originally, letting this Qi Yunfeng off was already showing mercy. Who could have imagined that this person would still dare to boast shamelessly after leaving? A spot of heart flame appeared on Xiao Chen's fingertip. He drew the bow, pulled the bowstring, and released. Qi Yunfeng dead. The divine image pierced through the heart. The might of the arrow instantly shattered all of Qi Yunfeng's life force. The heart flame spread, and his eyes slowly lost color. Qi Yunfeng did his best to turn his head, wanting to see Xiao Chun again. His heart filled with regret. Why did he have to be so shameless? Wouldn't it have been better for the white-clad scholar and the White Sun Sect's people to leave quietly? If Qi Yunfeng had another chance, he definitely would not have been so shameless. His mouth felt good for a moment, and it repaid itself in an instant. Senior brother, the remaining true inheritors of the ruling Sword Gate were all frightened silly, not daring to say anything. They also did not dare to look at Xiao Chun. After using the Ice Cloud sword to create an exit, they fled for their lives, running as far away from the herb garden as they could. Good kill. Back then, we could have left. However, this fellow jumped out and spoke of us killing the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, nearly causing us all to die, Murong Yin said ruthlessly as he looked at Qi Yunfeng with some disgust. Situ Changfeng said, "This person asked for it. Back then, when we killed the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, he already had bad intentions. Even though he was clearly not strong, he wanted to work with eccentric Tai and the others to suppress us. He is a classic fence-sitter." Situ Changfeng said, "This person asked for it. Back then, when we were dealing with the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, he already had bad intentions." Xiao Chen put away the god Shadow Bow and calmed himself. Then, he said, "Let's not talk about this person. There are some coiling dragon fruits on this coiling dragon tree. After we pick them, we should leave quickly." Lu Riyun asked, "Xiao Chun, what exactly happened below? Also, how did this seven-colored coiling dragon tree grow so big in an instant? What exactly is going on? What about the others? What about the sovereign personage Lu Yuanzhou?" Murong Yin and the others all felt incredibly curious, wanting to know what happened below the medicinal spring. I'll explain it to you later. The matters below are too complicated. This herb garden is no longer safe. If we continue waiting, I will not be able to control the situation. At this moment, the coiling dragon tree and the pill demon were in an intense battle to the death in the medicine cauldron. The pill demon was not resigned to being suppressed, resisting to the death. However, Xiao Chan did not know the result. Naturally, if the pill demon was suppressed to death, that would be the best result. However, if the pill demon came out, Xiao Chan did not dare to imagine the consequences. When the others saw Xiao Chen's grave expression, they did not dare to delay, quickly picking the coiling dragon fruits of various colors on the tree. Xiao Chen landed and collected all the harvests of the white-clad scholar and the others. Then he turned his head back to look at the coiling dragon tree. A trace of reluctance appeared in his eyes. What a pity for this seven-colored coiling dragon tree, the medicinal spring, and the pill river. Originally, Xiao Chun had wanted to leave the sapling behind. In the future, when the Kunlun Realm's Dragon's Gate disciples came up, they could quickly increase their strength. Chapter 1959. Under the white-clad scholar's lead, the Northern Mountain Academy's group left the herb garden feeling extremely depressed. They only calmed their emotions after a long time. After all, this group had soul tools. As long as they did not run into a strange person like Xiao Chun, they would be able to reap great benefits in the ancient city if they put in some effort. Even if they ran into a sovereign personage, they would be able to hold their own without fear. No matter what, he absolutely could not run into Xiao Chun. "Senior brother, where are we going now?" The white-clad scholar replied. "We cannot remain in the southern city. We came from the western city. That leaves only the northern and eastern city. Let's go to the eastern city. As far as I know, not many people go there. With a soul tool, we can dominate." "All right, I'll listen to senior brother." The group executed their movement techniques and continuously leaped from roof to roof in the ancient city. As they rose and fell, they traveled a long distance. These people were not weak. However, when they ran into Xiao Chun, they paled in comparison. When the God Shadow Bao clashed with the soul tool, it completely countered it. On a street in the eastern city, a white-clad monk looked at the item in his hand with joy on his face. Just earlier, he finally walked out of the blood rain that no one dared to touch. Indeed, he had obtained a great fortuitous encounter in this dangerous land. It turned out that there was a drop of divine blood at the end of the blood rain. This was a drop of martial god, essence blood containing a divine nature. If one could refine it all, the benefits would be extremely startling. Unfortunately, even a sovereign emperor could not refine it all. At most, one would have to spend more than 10 years to slowly digest it. Otherwise, one might explode and die at any moment. The white-clad monk knew his own strength. He only took a trace of this drop of divine blood and used it for himself. Even if it was just a trace, less than 1% of the drop of divine blood, it still benefited the white-clad monk greatly. Even so, Xiao Chun still received boundless benefits. His physical body and bloodline were thoroughly purified. There was also some divine might that merged with his Buddhist might, making it even more wondrous. Someone is coming. The white-clad monk looked up into the distance. A group of people quickly leaped from roof to roof, appeared at the limits of his vision. A soul tool? The white-clad monk focused his gaze on the folding fan in the white-clad scholar's hand. With one glance, he recognized the grade of the folding fan. However, this wasn't what surprised him. What surprised him was that this person had a trace of an aura that he was rather familiar with. The aura of an old friend. The white-robed monk muttered to himself. Who was his old friend? Who was he? Naturally, this person was the Black Lotus Church's only remaining holy Sun Ming Xian. The Black Lotus Holy venerates death allowed him to break out of his cocoon and become a butterfly. His comprehension of the Buddhist Dharma improved further. After making arrangements for the Black Lotus Church, Xiao Chun went to the central Great Realm alone. Treasure Path of Buddha Light. The white-robed monk's hands moved, forming hand seals. Buddhist light gathered above the dome. In the next moment, a golden path was carved out, and the white-robed monk stepped onto it. The golden path brought him along like an aurora movie, flying away. However, his clothes did not move in the slightest, and he looked rather calm and composed. In just a moment, he appeared in front of the people from the Northern Mountain Academy. Where did this monk come from? Move aside, don't block the way. The white-robed scholar looked at this monk. Although he chided him, he did not dare to underestimate this monk at all. The white-robed scholar silently opened the folding fan in his hand, and the might of a soul tool encased the group. The holy Sun Ming Xian looked at the white-robed scholar and said, "I do not have any malicious intent. I just sense the aura of an old friend on you. Who did you see earlier? I hope you can tell me." The moment the white-robed scholar said that, he immediately became enraged. Being humiliated by Xiao Chun earlier was the greatest humiliation of his life. How could he let others know? To think that this monk actually wanted him to say at the moment he opened his mouth. How could this be? An old friend? Wait a minute. Could this person be acquainted with Xiao Chun and is his friend? If I can subdue him, I might be able to recoup my losses from Xiao Chun. With this thought, the white-robed scholar could not help surging with a murderous chi. You do not have any malicious intent, but I do. Kill. The white-robed scholar gently waved the folding fan in his hand. Immediately, the Confucian scriptures in the fan started chanting. A vast righteous chi gathered above the white-robed scholar's head. The might of a soul tool is indeed extraordinary. The holy Sun Ming Xian dodged by a hair's breadth. However, the fan shock wave still struck him. The vast Confucian scriptures rang out in his ears, one word at a time. Bang, bang, bang. The holy Sun Ming Xian's mind shook, and his chi and blood surged. He vomited a mouthful of blood, and his complexion paled slightly. Don't blame me for being too ruthless. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being acquainted with Xiao Chun and befriending someone you should not have. The white-robed scholar's attack succeeded, and his righteous chi grew even stronger. He said seriously, "Life is like a dream. The curtain falls on prosperity." The scene in the folding fan immediately changed, showing 100 years of life. The curtain falls on prosperity. Life is like a dream. As the palm strike flew over, it looked like a dream. It was like real life was just a dream in the first place. The holy Sun Ming Xian smiled faintly and said, "So, you really do know an old friend. Black Lotus secret technique, destroy." The Buddhist prayer beads in the holy Sun Ming Xian's hand instantly formed a horrifying hand seal. Buddhist might surged all over his body, brewing horrifying energy. However, it was like the calm before the storm. There were no energy fluctuations coming from Ming Xian's body at all. Only when the holy Sun Ming Xian stretched out his hand did all his energy erupt at this moment. Boom! A black Buddha statue appeared behind the holy Sun Ming Xian. Its eyes showed an expression of loathing for everything in the world as it shouted. The tall building under the holy Sun Ming Xian instantly turned to dust. The white-robed scholar bore the brunt of the attack. Before the secret technique, the holy Sun Ming Xian appeared extremely petty, immediately getting blasted away. Bang, bang, bang. When the dust settled, everything within 1 kilometer of Ming Xian was empty. No buildings could be seen. The many Northern Mountain Academy disciples were blasted into pieces. Their mangled corpses littered the place. Boom! Ming Xian's figure flashed. When he landed, he stepped on the chest of the white-robed scholar, who was struggling to get up. A miserable shriek rang out. The holy Sun Ming Xian remained indifferent. He said indifferently, "You are not the only one with a soul tool. Now, can you tell me what happened to you earlier?" I'll talk. The white-robed scholar said with some difficulty, feeling unbearable pain. After the white-robed scholar finished speaking, the holy Sun Ming Xian kicked the white-robed scholar into the air. Then, he said sullenly, "What a coincidence. However, I have an appointment with someone, so I won't be looking for you now." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. After learning about Xiao Qin's whereabouts, the white-robed scholar moved quickly. 1 hour later, on a tall building in the ancient city, you were late. When Ming Xian reached the tall building, a mysterious person shrouded in scarlet shadows spoke to him indifferently. This person exuded a strong, evil, demonic Dao aura, a stark difference from the calm and peaceful Ming Xian. However, these two people with completely different auras ended up together. I was delayed on the way. The East Gate was indeed difficult to reach. However, it should not be too late now. The mysterious Scarlet Shadow person looked at the center of the ancient city and said, "It is not that easy for those undying old men of the heavenly lodging palace and the four-rank six sects to break the restrictions." How surprising. Who could have thought that an ancient city left behind by a true god would appear in desolate God Valley? Ming Xian looked at the center of the city, where a mysterious crystal core supported the vast spiritual energy in the city, controlling everything in the city. That was a divine crystal that contained divine Tao energy. Even a sovereign personage would not know how valuable it was. Only sovereign emperors who surpassed sovereign personages could understand a little about these existences that surpassed the mortal realm. Divine crystals held a fatal attraction. Ming Xian said softly, "To think that no sovereign emperor had arrived. This is the most surprising thing. It looks like this ancient city is indeed appearing for the first time." The heavenly lodging palace did not know what was in there either. This is an opportunity for us. Xiaochen did not know where the two got their confidence from, daring to barge into the center of the city. The rank 6 sects and the heavenly lodging palace's sovereign personages gathered there. Everyone could tell that the center of the city had the greatest fortuitous encounter. However, as long as one knew one's limits, one would not take such a huge risk by getting involved. Inside the Herb Garden, Xiaochen, there's a total of 10-odd coiling dragon fruits of all attributes. This is a great harvest. The coiling dragon fruit's effects are not much weaker than your heaven dragon fruit. Murong Yin said joyfully. To think that the coiling dragon tree could sprout leaves and bear fruit in a short time. All of them were astonished by what they saw. "Let's go. We can't stay here any longer," Xiaochen said softly as he put away the coiling dragon fruits. However, this coiling dragon tree seems to be continuing to grow. Should we not wait a little longer? Murong Yin asked. The coiling dragon tree had already grown to 3 kilometers, but it had not given up. Clearly, it would bear more coiling dragon fruits. When Xiaochen saw this, he felt that it was a pity. If Xiaochen had not given the immortal spirit ring to Ao Jiao, he could have ignored that pill demon and directly collected this tree. However, that was all he could do now. Let's go. Let's go to the city. I feel that there are even greater fortuitous encounters there. Chapter 1960. The group left the herb garden one after another. Then, Xiaochen turned his head back to look at the coiling dragon tree and the pill river. There was also the huge medicine cauldron at the bottom of the herb garden, where the others could not see. All of this held an incredible allure for Xiaochen. I can't just give up. While the others were not paying attention, Xiaochen casually formed a hand seal. Life bestowal spell. Some of the soil in the herb garden gathered and turned into a lively little bird, which became Xiaochen's eyes. If the pill demon was destroyed, then Xiaochen would do his best to subdue this coiling dragon tree and that incomparably huge medicine cauldron. Xiaochen, why don't we refine this coiling dragon fruit here? It can increase our strength significantly in a short time. Situ Changfeng suggested to Xiaochen. The others were filled with anticipation as well, eager to give it a try. Xiaochen looked at the surroundings and nodded. Go ahead and refine it. I'll stand guard for you. Murong Yin took out the coiling dragon fruit. Dragon-shaped spiritual energy swirled around the group. The different colors represented different attributes. Murong Yin chose the red one. That was a fire-attributed coiling dragon fruit. If others consumed it, not only would it be useless, but it would even harm their bodies and minds. However, if the red dragon race members consumed it, they would benefit from both. Their soul energy and veritable essence energy would increase significantly. They would also gain great comprehension of the fire Tao, which had boundless wondrous uses. Murong Yin received the coiling dragon fruit and smiled. In our red dragon palace, only elders can consume the coiling dragon fruit. Disciples have to complete very difficult missions. Disciples have to complete very difficult missions or have exceptionally outstanding cultivations to be rewarded. Master said that when I enter Ancestor Dragon City, he will reward me with one. Ha ha ha. I can refine it now. When I return, I will probably be so shocked that my jaw will drop. After the others received the coiling dragon fruit, they all revealed joyful expressions. However, Lu Ruyun was surprised. She did not have a choice. She shook her head and said, I don't need it. I already refined a similar fruit 3 months ago. It would be a waste to refine it again. Xiao Chun shoved the coiling dragon fruit to her and said, There is no need to be afraid of wasting this thing. It is fine as long as it is not harmful. This white coiling dragon fruit is actually quite suitable for you. Leaving it in my hands would be a true waste. Lu Ruyun smiled helplessly and received it. The few of them began to refine it. Xiao Chun guarded it carefully. There were a lot of death servants here, so someone had to protect them. The Deadpool was extremely difficult to deal with, but as long as he was not surrounded, it would not be a big problem. Xiao Chun looked at the center of Xie City and was a little puzzled. What exactly was there? The dense spiritual energy that filled the entire city came from that point. The energy of the various restrictions and formations in the city also came from that point. That place should also be extremely dangerous, not a place ordinary people could go. 1 hour later, Murong Yin and the others woke up one after another. Strong auras surged out from their bodies. Their auras were clearly much stronger than before. Let's go. Setting off again, Xiao Chen's party speed was much faster. Along the way, they met many cultivators and had some harvests. However, compared to what Xiao Chun and the others had obtained in the herb garden, it was nothing. However, as Xiao Chun approached the center of the city, he encountered fewer and fewer cultivators. One could clearly feel that the atmosphere in the air had become much heavier. The formless might and pressure placed an increasingly heavier restriction on them. The deeper they went, the more they felt it. How terrifying. I feel like my strength is suppressed by about 10%, Murong Yin said with a grave expression. As he looked at the unknown center of the city, he felt pressure. This is actually good news for us. This is actually good news for us. The pressure on sovereign personages will be even greater, Situ Changfeng calmly analyzed. Xiao Chun felt that his strength was suppressed by about 20%, much more severely than Murong Yin and the others. Situ Changfeng was right. The stronger one was, the greater the restrictions they would face. However, at the same time, Xiao Chun was shocked to discover that his physical strength was not suppressed. Under such pressure, his vital qi became even heavier. This was a piece of comforting news. Wait, there's the sound of fighting. Suddenly, Xiao Chun stopped and listened attentively. Situ Changfeng closed his eyes. In the next moment, he opened them and said, It came from the west. I seem to hear some familiar voices. I heard them. It's Zhong Li and the Golden Dragon Palace's Qin Outyin. Situ Changfeng was skilled in the wind Great Tao. He could clearly hear the faint sounds coming from a wind. With an advantage that the others didn't have, the few of them were quite convinced of his judgment. Murong Yin smiled and said, Zhong Li actually allied himself with Qin Outyin. Interesting. No wonder he has the confidence to fall out with us. Xiao Chun recalled that he seemed to have beaten up this Qin Outyin before. He asked seriously, What is Qin Outyin's background? Finding this strange, Murong Yin asked, You don't know? His first brother is known as the top expert of the Golden Dragon Palace. He was already a late-stage holy venerate many years ago. He grasped 2 great Tao and even comprehended the Emperor Dragon's mysteries. Although he is known as the top expert of the Golden Dragon Palace, he is actually the top expert of the Outer Palace. Wei Hongfei should be clearer on this. Wei Hongfei ignored Murong Yin. He said with a grave expression, They probably ran into the group of people I met earlier, the mortal enemies of the dragon race. Murong Yan's expression changed slightly. Do we need help? I'm afraid we have no choice. Situ Changfeng said, They are currently being chased. The direction they are fleeing in happens to be where we are. Indeed, right after Situ Changfeng spoke, hurried footsteps came from the front. Hurried footsteps came from ahead. Soon, Zhongli, Lu Yunfei, Qin Outyin, and the others appeared before them in somewhat sorry states. Aside from Qin Outyin, who was in a slightly better state, the others were all injured. Ah! A miserable shriek rang out. A saber light struck a dragon race disciple who was running too slowly. The black saber light turned into a malicious spirit, continuously gnawing on the other party's physical body and soul. The miserable shriek was incredibly mournful, making everyone tremble in fear and their legs go soft. What saber technique is this? Murong Yin asked with a somewhat trembling voice. This was too evil. He had never seen it before. We have never seen anyone with a saber before. The Green Dragon Palace's Duan Fei said softly. When Zhong Li and the others saw Xiao Chun, they were startled. Then they said joyfully, Xiao Chun, Wei Hongfei, you came a good time. We ran into the flood dragon humans. Help us block them. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Before they could react, the pursuers had already arrived. A group of black-clothed men wearing masks that covered the lower half of their faces, revealing only their foreheads and eyes, as well as a man wearing a bamboo hat wielding a saber, appeared. When Wei Hongfei saw the leader of the black-clad men, his expression changed drastically. He cried out hoarsely, Yin Sangming. Although that person wore a mask, Wei Hongfei immediately recognized his eyes. This was the flood dragon human Yin Sangming, whom Wei Hongfei fought in the abyssal underworld battlefield. His strength was still fresh in Wei Hongfei's mind. With one hand, Yin Sangming beat Wei Hongfei until he could not retaliate. I was wondering who it was. It turns out that it is a group of defeated people. Yin Sangming only glanced at Wei Hongfei before shifting his gaze to Xiao Chun. He said seriously, very good. Unexpectedly, you are here as well. Jin Yuan, you should be very happy, right? Whoosh. The bamboo hat man removed the conical bamboo hat from his head and waved it. The conical bamboo hat immediately shot towards Xiao Chun. As it spun around, it actually turned into a black dragon image. When it arrived before Xiao Chun, the black dragon image appeared and roared ferociously. A berserk dragon might surged out. This stunned Murong Yin and the others. They felt immense pressure and could not help taking a step back. Bang! Xiao Chun calmly attacked, throwing a punch and shattering that black dragon image along with the conical bamboo hat. Boundless shrapnel flew into the air. Xiao Chun, it has been a long time since we last met. Under the conical bamboo hat was a face that Xiao Chun was very familiar with. It was the profound light temple's Zhen Yuan. However, he now had hair, and his face looked older. When Xiao Chun saw that strand of saber light earlier, he had already suspected it. Unexpectedly, it really was Zhen Yuan. After absorbing the Black Dragon King's strong demonic nature, Zhen Yuan actually did not turn crazy. Not only that, but Zhen Yuan even mingled with the Flood Dragon humans, who once followed the Black Dragon King. Damn! These dragon race cultivators with divine dragon bloodlines. I'll leave them to you, Xiao Chun. Yin Sangming had an innate hatred for cultivators with divine dragon bloodlines. When he saw them, he would feel an uncontrollable murderous intent in his heart. In reality, the Flood Dragon humans had an inextinguishable hatred for the dragon race. Back then, the Flood Dragon humans could not stand the pressure of the 6 color divine dragons and followed the Black Dragon King to the abyssal underworld. Now, they lived at the bottom of the abyssal underworld, even more miserable than they had been in the Divine Dragon Empire. Naturally, the Flood Dragon humans placed all this hatred on the cultivators with divine dragon bloodlines. I'll block them. You all split up. Xiao Chun sent a voice projection to Murong Yin and the others. Then he activated his divine dragon war body, and his body instantly swelled up. His bones crackled like thunder. Xiao Chun's dragon might immediately strengthened several-fold. What was even more shocking was that Xiao Chun's dragon might completely merged with his physical body, not leaking out at all. This blocked Yin Sangming, preventing him from continuing forward. Xiao Chun, I'll leave these people to you. We'll go first. When Zhong Li and Qin Outyin saw the situation, they rejoiced in their hearts. Then, they laughed loudly and turned to leave, not lingering at all. Chapter 1961. Before Murong Yin and the others could decide, the instigators, Zhong Li and Qin Outyin, quickly fled. They had no intention of staying to help. Perhaps they knew how horrifying Yin, Songming, and Jinyuan were and felt that they could not defeat them. So they used Xiao Chun and the others as shields. Do you think you can leave? Martial artists with divine dragon bloodlines are indeed as shameless as ever. Today, I will kill all of you. Yin, Songming snorted coldly. Without even looking at Xiao Chun, he turned around and directly grabbed at Zhongli. Xiao Chun did not move, as Jinyuan's saber intent had already locked onto him. There was no room for change in the confrontation of Qi. Touch of death. As Yin Songming waved his hand, countless strands of black energy moved towards Zhongli like dragon whiskers. Zhongli's expression sank. Black tentacles surrounded him from all directions. There was no way he could escape. Rushing Cloud Hand. With a furious roar, Zhongli's hands moved rapidly. Layers of clouds surrounded him as he thrust his palms forward. The clouds changed constantly, forming all sorts of mysterious phenomena that charged out in all directions with great might. However, once the clouds got close to the black tentacles, the mysterious phenomenon formed by the thousands of clouds corroded, rendering it useless. Thousand cloud flower rain. Falling water turns to ice. Zhongli's expression changed slightly, and his hands moved as he attacked again. The mysterious phenomenon of thousands of clouds turned to ice. Cold qi spread everywhere, sealing the black tentacles in ice. He blocked it. Zhongli showed joy on his face. However, before his smile faded, he saw Yin Songming reach out and grab. Kacha. The layer of ice shattered, and thousands of black tentacles gathered into a tentacle containing the mysteries of the Death Tao. Then, it grabbed at Zhongli. Everywhere the black tentacle passed, all life was lost, and everything was silent. It was extremely terrifying. It's over. A trace of despair involuntarily surged in Zhongli's heart. If he was grabbed by this palm, he would lose most of his vitality. Even if he did not die, he would be crippled. The falling leaves filled the sky like rain. Shwa! Leaves fell from the sky as the wind blew. They were sparse, like the sound of falling rain. A flash of saber light with strong life force and humanity appeared. It streaked across the sky and cut off the black tentacle. Lu Ruyun pushed off the ground and moved gently, shielding Zhongli. Let's go. I'll cover you. Thank you, senior sister. Zhongli was still in a state of shock. He felt a trace of shame in his heart, but a trace of determination flashed in his eyes as he turned around and left. Xiao! Yin Songming hovered in the air. Then, he stretched out his hand and made a grabbing motion. The shattered black tentacles returned to his body. His entire body was suffused with a black aura of death. The aura wriggled like tentacles, looking exceptionally terrifying. What a pure white dragon bloodline. Your identity is definitely not simple. Yin Songming looked at Lu Ruyun, and his eyes lit up. He said seriously, perhaps there might be some value in changing my mind. When Xiao Chen noticed this scene, his heart skipped a beat. He said, protect Lu Ruyun. Xiao Chun had seen this Yin Songming make a move before. Yin Songming's strength was extremely terrifying, far beyond that of an ordinary holy venerate. This person's resentment and killing intent were the most horrifying that Xiao Chun had ever seen in his life. So. Murong Yin and the others quickly rushed over and arrived before Lu Ruyun. At the same time, the other Flood Dragon humans moved as well, arriving behind Yin Songming. I alone am enough. You all go and chase after those small fries that fled, Yin Songming said indifferently. His tone filled with strong confidence. Yes, young master. The other Flood Dragon humans immediately scattered, leaving only Yin Songming. A wind blew. The Flood Dragon human shattered. Jinyuan appeared where Xiao Chun stood. As he looked at Xiao Chun, who had already retreated far away, Jinyuan asked seriously, Are you not going to draw your saber? Jin Yuan's face hurt somewhat. He had already dodged very quickly earlier. However, due to his distraction, the saber chi broke his defense and injured his face. The saber chi broke through his defense and injured his face. Xiao Chun stretched out his hand and prodded his wound. Then, he looked at the blood on his hand before looking at Jin Yuan. When a saber is drawn, it will definitely see blood. I promised your master to spare your life. Huh, that old fellow is really concerned about me. Since that is the case, why did you not send me to the 4 great monasteries earlier? This old man has had enough of that tiny place. Jin Yuan revealed a mocking smile as a crazed look appeared in his eyes. Since that is the case, then die. You can forget about drawing your saber for the rest of your life. Mahamaya abstinence violation saber, breaking the mundane. A black saber light burst out of Jin Yuan's body, and a black swastika appeared on his forehead. Scriptures appeared in the surroundings. All sorts of illusions appeared in Xiao Chen's mind, all of which were tragedies of the mortal world. The flames of war raged on. Corpses piled up. Cries of starving people filled the land. Crows ate humans. Emaciated people appeared everywhere, starving and cold, their clothes barely covering their bodies. Jin Yuan used the most decisive method, a method that was completely different from Xiao Chen's, to break the mundane world. Jin Yuan comprehended the mysteries of the first move of the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber. However, in Jin Yuan's hand, it became an incredibly horrifying demonic saber. In the next moment, all sorts of illusions, crows eating corpses, and passers-by lying on the roadside, waiting to die, all showed their ferocious sides. Jin Yuan's sharp gaze focused on Xiao Chun. Then, it turned into a saber light and charged at Xiao Chun. The entire world turned into Jin Yuan's saber light. Break! Xiao Chun did not think too much. He materialized the divine dragon war body and punched 100 times in all directions. Bang! 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 Vital chi surged, and dragon roars rang out. The illusions instantly broke, and Jin Yuan took advantage of the opportunity to charge over. This is for not drawing your saber. Jin Yuan did not show mercy after gaining the upper hand. He quickly launched all sorts of sharp attacks, turning them into a complete saber move, putting immense pressure on Xiao Chun. In the blink of an eye, the two exchanged more than 100 moves. Xiao Chun was forced back several steps, allowing Jin Yuan's aura to reach its peak. Azura Hell Chop. When Jin Yuan's aura reached its peak, he did not hesitate to chop with a saber. The saber move that Jin Yuan set up completely erupted at this moment, revealing his ferocious and terrifying side. It turned into Azura Hell, concentrated in this saber strike. This was the opportunity that Jin Yuan had been waiting for. Buddhist sect's 7-kill seal. Xiao Chun roared ferociously and executed the Buddhist sect's 7-kill seal in the time it took for a spark to fly. His killing chi expanded 7-fold. Supreme Dragon Fist, raging at the unfair heaven. Jin Yuan's surging killing chi turned into rage, shaking the sky and making it pale. When Jin Yuan punched, killing chi surged out endlessly like a gushing river. Before the fist light arrived, the terrifying killing chi turned into a sharp dragon image and tore that Azura Hell into pieces. When the fist light arrived, the 7-fold killing chi suddenly erupted, and the Azura Hell instantly crumbled. Jin Yuan vomited a mouthful of blood as he got knocked back. Shock appeared in his eyes. Unexpectedly, his peak-killing move could not defeat Xiao Chun. Supreme Dragon Fist, Heaven Dragon regrets. While you are down, I'll take your life. Xiao Chun did not hold back. He leaped into the air. His killing chi erupted as he punched again. The boundless killing chi gathered into a lofty aspiration, like a regretless heaven dragon. It carried an aura of despair and self-sacrifice, pressing forward with no regrets. The strong dragon might cause the nearby ancient city to tremble. Many buildings collapsed. Wen Yin Songming, who was fighting 1 against 4, sensed this scene. He sent out a palm strike to block Lu Ruyun and the others. Yin Sangming charged over to Xiao Chun in a flash. The mysteries of death chi all over his body surged as he sent a palm strike to clash with Xiao Chen's sure-kill fist light. Bang! The fist and palm clashed, and the shock wave spread out. The others all moved back, afraid of getting caught up in the shock waves. Cracks appeared on the ancient street. A certain formation that was originally supporting the ground looked like it would break at any moment. Xiao Chen took a few steps back and thought to himself, what a pity. This punch did not land on Zhen Yuan. It would be difficult to subdue him. Zhen Yuan had refined the demonic qi that the Black Dragon King had accumulated for many years. His physical body had already fallen into the demonic Tao, and his recovery ability was startling. Indeed, the demonic qi on Zhen Yuan's body surged. His injuries healed at a visible rate. A brilliant light flickered in Zhen Yuan's eyes, and the demonic qi on his body surged. Yin Sangming looked at Xiao Chun, and a look of praise flashed in his eyes. Supreme Dragon Fist. To think that you actually managed to practice the Supreme Dragon Fist. This is truly shocking. However, I know this fist technique as well. Supreme Dragon Fist, master of the world. Right after Yin Sangming spoke, he suddenly punched. Black dragon qi spread out from his body, and his veritable essence energy burned, materializing a war banner burning with black flames. When Yin Sangming punched, the war banner carried a boundless tyrannical aura that commanded the surroundings as it shot toward Xiao Chun. This startled Xiao Chun. Clearly, he had not expected Yin Sangming to practice this forbidden technique that only the Heaven Dragon Palace had. However, the situation before Xiao Chun did not allow him to think too much. He was very clear on how strong this punch was. As Xiao Chun circulated his energy for the Supreme Dragon Fist, he punched and materialized a blazing war banner as well. Then he punched. Bang! One side infused the mysteries of the Death Tao into the Supreme Dragon Fist, and the other infused the mysteries of the Massacre Tao into the Supreme Dragon Fist. The strong clashed, and the two war banners crashed into each other in the air. A horrifying dragon roar shook the surroundings. The two war banners shattered at the same time, and a startling force exploded where they stood. The two war banners turned into a horrifying pillar of energy soaring into the clouds. In the next moment, the ground cracked open. A black hole appeared, and everyone fell into it uncontrollably. After everyone fell, a strong suction came from the hole, making it even more difficult for those who struggled to get out. They could not resist this mysterious suction at all. Chapter 1962. Inside the mysterious cave, Xiao Chun and Yin Sangming did not give up on fighting. As the two descended, they continued to search for opportunities to severely injure each other. The two executed the Supreme Dragon Fist, exchanging moves in the average-sized cave, fighting intensely. The Heaven Dragon's Dragon Might and the Death Dragon Might clashed, neither giving way. Dragon roars rang out. Xiao Chun showed a grave expression, feeling shocked. To think that someone could rearrange the Supreme Dragon Fist like him. In reality, if the other party used resentment to practice the Supreme Dragon Fist, it would be even more mighty. However, like Xiao Chun, Yin Sangming saw the flaws of the Supreme Dragon Fist and switched to the Death Tao to drive the Supreme Dragon Fist. The other party's comprehension of the Death Tao was much stronger than Xiao Chen's Massacre Tao. Xiao Chen's killing qi had been tempered in the Great Thousand Realms for many years. Although it was vast and dense, it barely advanced to the level of will. Xiao Chun was still a long time away from truly comprehending the Massacre Tao. In reality, few of the thousands of cultivators, even divine vain sovereign emperors, could comprehend such a great Tao that surpassed attributes. The process was painful, arduous, and long. However, once one comprehended it, one's strength would be extremely horrifying. Within the same cultivation realm, one would be unrivaled. The Yin Sangming before Xiao Chun was such an existence. To think that he comprehended the Death Tao. If not for Xiao Chun using the 7 kill seal to drive his killing qi, Yin Sangming's Supreme Dragon Fist would not be able to hold his own. However, Xiao Chen did not know that Yin Songming was even more shocked than he was. The other party should not have come into contact with the Supreme Dragon Fist for long. However, the comprehension ability that he showed was already no weaker than Yin Songming's. How did you cultivate the Heaven Dragon Forbidden Art? Xiao Chen asked as he looked at the other party. Compared to the other party's horrifying strength, this question was even more serious. Yin Songming retorted coldly. When I came into contact with the Supreme Dragon Fist, you had not even grasped it yet. Boom! The two exchanged moves again, and the effects of the 7-kill seal on Xiao Chen slowly weakened. In the clash of the Supreme Dragon Fist, Yin Songming slowly fell into a disadvantage, losing his aura. This is not enough for you to be arrogant in front of me. Yin Songming grabbed hold of this opportunity to deal a fatal blow to Xiao Chen before he landed. However, Xiao Chen suddenly discovered that Xiao Chen's aura had become erratic. Xiao Chen had clearly locked onto the other party, but Xiao Chen was unfathomable, like a fish in water. Bang! Xiao Chen punched out, only to find that he missed. The terrifying might of the fist exploded, but it did not hurt Xiao Chen at all. Heaven Dragon Profundity. You actually comprehended the Heaven Dragon Profundity. This greatly startled Yin Songming. Theoretically, a Flood Dragon human could become a Heaven Dragon. Yin Songming had studied the Heaven Dragon's mysteries for many years. Even though he could comprehend the Death Tao, he could not make any headway. Not only that, Xiao Chen snorted coldly in the darkness. The substantial Heaven Dragon's mysteries merged with the Supreme Dragon Fist's final move. When Yin Songming sensed Xiao Chen's aura, he recognized this move. It was the Supreme Dragon Fist's final move, only I am supreme. Without even thinking, Yin Songming used his strong Death Tao's mysteries and his mental cultivation technique, which he was far more familiar with than Xiao Chen's, to launch this punch first. Supreme Dragon Fist, only I am supreme. When Yin Songming punched, an unparalleled tyranny burst out from his body. That was the intense confidence of being the only one in the entire world, everywhere and everywhere. What was a supreme? Until the end of time, a supreme would not age. Even after a long time, a supreme would not die. This heart would not die. These words would not be regretted. This body would not die. At first, Xiao Chen's fist move was the same as Yin Songming's. However, later on, it gained an even more distant state. Supreme Dragon Fist, only I am supreme. Although it was only in embryonic form and not complete, when Xiao Chen merged the Heaven Dragon's mysteries with it, Xiao Chen's punch became well prepared. In that instant, Yin Songming's might drowned out Yin Songming's. The instant the two fists clashed, Yin Songming's aura shattered. He vomited a large mouthful of blood as he went flying. Why? They were both using the Supreme Dragon Fist's final move. Even if Yin Songming grasped the Heaven Dragon's mysteries, the other party's 7-kill seal was no longer effective. Yin Songming should be slightly stronger. However, why did the might of Xiao Chen's only I am supreme completely drown out Yin Songming's? They were not on the same level at all. Yin Songming, who flew back in pain, felt very confused. However, before he could think too much, Yin Songming, who had been severely injured by the punch, lost control of his body and fell down. Withdraw. Xiao Chen opened his fists and retracted the scattered dragon might, negating the might of Yin Songming's punch. There was no one else in the darkness. Silence reigned. Yin Songming had been defeated. However, he could not continue his pursuit in this mysterious cave. Caught off guard, the others had already fallen somewhere. Only the two of them could control their falling speed. Now that Yin Songming was defeated, only Xiao Chen remained, able to control his body somewhat. This cave in the depths appeared rather abruptly. This was worth thinking about. Why would such a cave appear near the center of the city? Xiao Chen calmed his mind and entered deep thought. Then he opened his heavenly eye and did his best to see his surroundings. However, the situation was only a little worse. He could only see some blurry light in the darkness. There were also flickering spots of light on the walls. Wait, there seems to be some pattern to these spots of light. Are they talisman scripts or ancient characters? Xiao Chan did his best to control his body. Then, he arrived before the wall. As he descended, he imprinted the flickering characters into the depths of his mind. He compared them with the memories that the blood-soaked Dragon Emperor left behind, hoping to gain something. These are divine characters. Xiao Chan finally confirmed that these were divine characters, the characters that the heavenly realm's martial gods used back then. Compared to ordinary characters, divine characters contained the energy of the divine Tao. After they were written, they naturally contained laws and supreme truths. Xiao Chan felt like this was a record of some cultivation technique. Unfortunately, whenever he tried to recall it, the divine characters imprinted in his mind would quickly slip away. After that, he had no recollection of them. Just at this moment, Xiao Chan felt something under his feet, and he landed. The huge impact nearly sent Xiao Chan tumbling down. Fortunately, Xiao Chan had been doing his best to control his body. Although the impact was strong, it was still within his control. After stabilizing his footing, Xiao Chan controlled his body and walked forward step by step. After opening his heavenly eye, he could see divine characters that others could not. Xiao Chan was strangely obsessed with these divine characters. Although he could not truly remember them, Xiao Chan found them very wondrous as he walked along the flickering divine characters on the walls. My soul energy? Suddenly, Xiao Chan was shocked to discover that the originally faint sun and moon shining together in his soul pool actually glowed. A bright moon and a blazing sun competed for brilliance. Although the light was not dazzling, it flickered, giving this mysterious phenomenon its original form. Originally, Xiao Chen's soul energy had to advance by at least 5 or 6 layers to reach this level. However, just by observing these divine characters, he managed to achieve such an effect. This helped Xiao Chan save a lot of time. Interesting. If I continue to observe these divine characters, will I be able to bring out the sun and moon shining together, mysterious phenomenon in the end? Xiao Chan thought joyfully. Originally, he had only just advanced to the Holy Venerate realm. His soul energy had been extremely weak. After all, he had not cultivated any soul energy secret manuals. Previously, he had only been a star venerate. His usage of soul energy had been very crude. Wanting to bring out the sun and moon shining together mysterious phenomenon without reaching the sovereign personage realm was like a fool's dream. Those outstanding talents of rank 7 sects had been nurtured from a young age and received pointers from experts. That was why they could bring out mysterious phenomena at the Holy Venerate realm. However, along the way, Xiao Chan had relied on himself to fumble about, unyielding perseverance to achieve this. Xiao Chan, who came from the abandoned land, was much weaker than many people in the Great Thousand Realms. With this anticipation, Xiao Chan immersed his consciousness into the divine characters, following the traces left by the divine characters as he chased after them. He did not notice that the space he was in had already turned blurry without him realizing it. Whoosh! Murong Yin was the first to come out of the cave. Soon after, Lu Ruyun, Wei Hongfei, and the others came out one after another. How piercing! The first reaction of these people, who suddenly came out of the darkness, was to close their eyes involuntarily. When these people got used to the light, they were horrified to discover that they were under a pink screen of light. There was a mirror made of light under their feet. They could not see the exit at all. Where's Xiao Chun? Lu Riyun suddenly thought of this question and asked the others, appearing somewhat flustered. I don't know. He and that flood dragon human should have fallen in first. Logically speaking, they should have arrived earlier than us. Did you not see him? I was following behind you. I thought that Xiao Chun came out long ago. Just as the group felt confused, Sidu Changfeng said, at that time, I felt that Xiao Chun and that flood dragon human continued fighting after they fell in. Since that flood dragon human Yin Songming has not come out yet, Xiao Chun should not have come out so early, either. Upon hearing this, Lu Riyun and the others relaxed slightly. Soon, Yin Songming and Jun Yuan appeared together. However, there was still no sign of Xiao Chun. Damn it! What did the two of you do to Xiao Chun? Why is he not out yet? Lu Riyun shouted when she saw the situation. This startled Yin Songming. He thought to himself, shouldn't this fellow have come out long ago? However, Yin Songming remained expressionless, not showing any fluctuations. He smiled coldly and said, "Why are you so concerned about that fellow? You are a noble white dragon. Did you fall in love with a mixed-blood dragon? He already died at my hands. You can rest easy now." Lu Riyun and the others immediately became enraged. They prepared to activate their great desolate Ian bloodlines and fight to the death with Yin Songming. Upon seeing this scene, Jin Yuan frowned slightly. These people activating their great desolate Ian bloodlines was problematic. He said coldly, "Xiao Chun is not dead. We do not know where he is, either. Before you make a move, look at your surroundings first. Everyone is looking at us like fools." Chapter 1963. Xiao Chun followed the flickering divine characters on the walls and walked all the way. When he startled awake, he discovered that he was in a strange world. Where am I? Where are Lu Riyun, Mu Rongyin, and the others? Xiao Chun felt suspicious. He felt that there was only one path in the cave, and he had walked for a long time. After walking for so long, even if Xiao Chun was at the very back, he should have met someone else or left the cave he came from. Or perhaps Murong Yin and the others had already arrived here before him. However, after looking around the place, he didn't find anyone else. The strangest thing was that Xiao Chun discovered that the path he came from had been cut off. It looked like he had arrived in this strange space for some reason. This place was filled with pink crystal walls that flickered with a dazzling luster. Xiao Chun did his best to recall. Unfortunately, he had been immersed in the divine characters earlier and had no recollection of them all. Of course, the divine characters that captivated him had all slipped away. He could not remember a single one of them. The only thing that proved their existence was that Xiao Chen's soul energy had increased significantly. The mysterious phenomenon of the sun and moon shining together in Xiao Chen's soul pool had become increasingly distinct. The silhouettes of the sun and the moon appeared clearly. Not only did they flicker with light, but they also shed a faint radiance on the ground. Xiao Chun entered deep thought. With a thought, he sent out his holy venerate will. Boom! In that instant, the mysterious phenomenon of the sun and moon shining together appeared in Xiao Chen's soul pool. The bright moon and the blazing sun appeared at the same time. The entire space and the surrounding crystal walls reflected off each other, looking very beautiful. Xiao Chun revealed joy on his face. I succeeded. The increase in Xiao Chen's soul energy allowed him to finally bring out the mysterious phenomenon of the sun and moon shining together. In the future, even if he faced a sovereign personage's will of soul, he would be able to hold his own. Xiao Chun would no longer be in a predicament like when he was a star venerate, feeling a headache every time he faced a holy venerate's will of soul. After withdrawing the mysterious phenomenon, Xiao Chun frowned slightly. Returning to reality, where exactly am I? After searching for a while, Xiao Chun's expression slowly turned grave. There was no exit. The entire space was like a maze, crisscrossing and confusing. There were crystal walls all around him that emitted pink radiance. They were filled with an energy he couldn't understand. That energy was unfamiliar and powerful, causing people to feel reverence. It was somewhat similar to the divine text, but this was tangible energy. Xiao Chun knew very well that he did not absorb it. Bang! Bang! Punch after punch landed on the crystal wall. Xiao Chen's hands hurt a little, but the crystal wall didn't move an inch. It was as if it had existed for eternity and would never change. Was he going to be trapped here for the rest of his life? Since he could get in, he could definitely get out. Xiao Chun calmed himself down and began to search for the divine characters that had drawn him in. The light of the crystal wall covered the light of the divine characters. Xiao Chen's eyes were dazzled, but he still didn't discover anything. He had to think of a way to make the divine text appear. With a thought, Xiao Chun said softly, "Demonic cloud, heaven-swallowing art." Within his 9-star primal core, the demonic cloud, heaven-swallowing art slowly circulated, and strands of black demonic chi emanated from his body. The demonic chi thickened and stuck to the walls, covering up the light of the crystal walls. The originally flickering space turned pitch black. Xiaoqian circulated his energy and nimbly controlled these demonic clouds, making them thinner. With Xiaoqian's continuous effort, flickering divine characters finally appeared on the crystal wall. In this dark environment, these flickering divine characters gave off a faint light, appearing exceptionally eye-catching. Xiaoqian activated the blood-soaked Dragon Emperor's memories to see if he could dig out more information about the divine characters. The blood-soaked Dragon Emperor was only one step away from becoming a true martial god. Although Xiaoqian could not write divine characters, he could still recognize them in the blood-soaked Dragon Emperor's memories. Xiaoqian knew that the original deities of the heavenly realm had a complicated relationship with the peak factions of the Great Thousand Realms. In reality, in every war between the righteous factions and demonic factions, the true masterminds behind the scenes were these deities of the heavenly realm. Be it the righteous Tao or the demonic Tao, they all had the support of the heavenly realm's deities. However, the deities had not expected that the last great war between the righteous factions and demonic factions would involve a variable like the Black Dragon King, bringing the flames of war to the heavenly realm. The chaotic war between the deities resulted in the heavenly realm's destruction. From then on, the heavenly realm no longer existed in the Great Thousand Realms. However, when the deities of the heavenly realm still existed, the decrees they passed down were written in divine characters. The various major factions all had people who could read the divine characters and clearly understand the decrees of the heavenly realm's deities. Naturally, the Divine Dragon Empire had a backer in the heavenly realm back then. Those dragon races that advanced to martial god would definitely take care of their own races in the Central Great Realm. As the ruler of the Divine Dragon Empire, the blood-soaked Dragon Emperor naturally could read the divine characters. After some hard work, Xiaoqian finally obtained some simple techniques for reading the divine characters. However, these techniques were limited to letting Xiaoqian understand the divine characters. They could not leave an impression in his mind. Divine characters were different from ordinary characters. The meaning of one divine character might require thousands of ordinary characters to describe. Xiaoqian's eyes quickly scanned these divine characters, searching for a way to escape. Since Xiaoqian came to this place because of the divine characters were definitely his only chance to escape. It was very possible that he had accidentally touched one of the characters while reading those divine characters, which resulted in him being sent here. Whoosh! Xiaoqian's figure flashed, and he arrived before a divine character. After hesitating for a moment, he gently tapped on it. Perhaps he could use the same method to send himself out now. Boom! A huge force shot out, and Xiaoqian vomited a mouthful of blood as he went flying. This divine character recorded a flame containing the supreme principles of the Fire Tao. It was berserk and merciless, inflicting severe damage on Xiaoqian's physical body and soul. Xiaoqian did not complain. After he stood up, he continued to read these obscure and unfathomable divine characters. After trying many times, Xiaoqian felt like he was on the verge of death, killed by the energy in the divine characters. Xiaoqian thought about giving up. However, if he gave up, he might really be trapped here forever. Xiaoqian clenched his teeth, feeling mentally fatigued. Then, he touched another divine character. If Xiaoqian understood this divine character correctly, it described big. There was no way to count on a beginner like Xiaoqian to understand the complete meaning of this divine character. It was already extremely difficult for him to comprehend a rough state. This divine character contained a state that Xiaoqian could only comprehend to big. Boom! After Xiaoqian touched the divine character, the entire crystal wall started to tremble slightly. The flickering divine characters vanished, hiding within the crystal wall. Xiaoqian did not know what happened. He withdrew the demonic clouds in the surroundings, and the space regained its brightness. That is, in the center of the crystal wall, Xiao Chun discovered a beam of light encasing a stone stele. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Xiao Chun was certain that before he touched the divine character that represented Big, this stone stele had not appeared. Xiao Chun's heart skipped a beat. He quickly walked over and looked carefully. Then, he muttered, "Divine Universe Stele." Just as Xiao Chun finally obtained an opportunity to leave this mysterious place, Murong Yin, Lu Ruyun, and the others found themselves in trouble. Murong Yin, Lu Ruyun, and the others found themselves in trouble. They followed Jun Yuan's instructions and looked around. Then, they all showed stunned expressions. At the moment, they were in a certain barrier, and beneath their feet was a pink mirror that was as bright as if it had been washed. Outside the barrier was a group of cultivators so shocked that their jaws nearly fell off. These people were the 4 rank 6 sects and the Heavenly Lodging Palace branch's upper echelon and elite disciples exploring the center of the ancient city in search of the greatest fortuitous encounter, the Divine Crystal. Aside from these people, there were also many sovereign personages, loose cultivators in ancient desolate town who were confident in their strength. These loose cultivators cut their way through the pressure of the Divine Crystal, crossed many restrictions, and killed countless corpses. After paying a huge price and going through a lot of trouble, they finally arrived here. After that, they discovered to their frustration that the Divine Crystal was right before them. However, no matter how hard they tried, they could not break the barrier of the Divine Crystal. Even with the combined power of several soul tools, they could not shake this barrier at all. In the hands of a sovereign personage, a soul tool could bring out 50% of its might, perhaps even 100%. Compared to the might that Xiao Chun and the others could bring out with soul tools, it was on a completely different level. However, even under such circumstances, they still could not break the barrier. Looking at the Divine Crystal right in front of them, yet they couldn't get their hands on it, anyone would go crazy. Just as they were about to despair, Murong Yin and the others appeared inside the barrier. How could they not be shocked? Damn it, did I see it wrong? There are actually people in there? I did not see wrongly. I saw it too. How did this group of people appear? Quickly come over and tell us how to enter. Otherwise, everyone will die. After the upper echelon of the 4 rank 6 sects recovered from their shock, they rejoiced and shouted. After the initial shock, Murong Yin and the others discovered that this group of people could not enter. So, they ignored this group of frantic sovereign personages. Lu Riyun looked at Yin, Songming, and demanded, "Where is Xiao Chun? If you do not give me an explanation today, I will not let you off." Yin Songming's and Zhen Yuan's gazes were already fixed on the sky. A pink crystal floated there quietly. This was the divine crystal that the group of people outside yearned for. This divine crystal gave off an awe-inspiring energy that they could not comprehend. A fanatical look flashed in Yin Songming's eyes for only an instant before he calmed down. Given Yin Songming's current cultivation, snatching this divine crystal would be pointless. Not only would he not be able to comprehend it, but it would also bring him a lot of trouble. Upon hearing Lu Ruyun's words, Yin Songming recovered his wits. He smiled and said, "I feel that you should not worry about Xiao Chun at this moment. You should worry more about yourself and the people around you." When Murong Yin and the others heard the meaning behind Yin Songming's words, their faces immediately sank. They stepped forward and shielded Lu Ruyun. "Zhen Yuan, you don't mind helping me block the attacks of these people with their great desolate Ian bloodline, right? I am very interested in this young lady. Her value might surpass our imagination." Yin Songming had great insight. When his gaze fell on Lu Ruyun, a sinister look flashed in his eyes. "As you wish." Zhen Yuan felt somewhat displeased. However, since Yin Songming insisted, he could only agree. Boom! In that instant, Zhen Yuan ignited the demonic nature that the Black Dragon King left in his body. His black hair immediately fluttered about, and his eyes flickered with a pitch-black light. His expression twisted, and his demonic might flourished. Chapter 1964. Yin Songming had sharp eyes. He determined that Lu Ruyun had an extraordinary background and was extremely valuable. Even if Murong Yin and the others activated their great desolate Ian bloodlines, the two of them would have to pay a heavy price. He still felt that it was worth a try. Jin Yuan had been in the Central Great World for some time. He knew how terrifying the martial practitioners with the 8 Overlord bloodlines were after they activated their great desolate Ian bloodlines. If he were to lower his guard, he might very well lose his life here. Without hesitation, Xiao Chun ignited the Black Dragon King's demonic nature that he had absorbed and refined. His body immediately erupted with a demonic might that rivaled that of a sovereign personage. However, this was because his cultivation was not high enough and his body could not withstand it. The Black Dragon King's demonic nature could display even more terrifying might. However, now, it was already frightening enough. The moment the demonic might appeared, Murong Yin and the others trembled in fear. Mahlia abstinence, violation saber technique, entering hell. Jin Yuan drew his saber and shouted ferociously. A black saber light instantly materialized, a horrifying scene of purgatory. Jin Yuan turned into the Kasayapa Buddha in hell, exuding boundless demonic might. The demonic smoke materialized thousands of malicious spirits circling above Murong Yin and the others. They bared their fangs and claws, giving off ghostly cries and wolf howls. From time to time, the spiraling demons and monsters would transform into sharp saber chi. They rained down like a torrential storm, each and every one of them lethal. They carried fear and resentment, and very quickly, they messed up their formation. As expected of a Buddhist forbidden art, if you can learn the 7 kill seal, TSK, its power will be unimaginable. However, this move can actually be more perfect. I'll bring you to the real Azura Blood Sea to train some other day. Yin Songming silently spread out his death Dao's mysteries. Black smoke lingered on his body, wriggling like tentacles. Jin Yuan said in a deep voice, and the battle quickly to avoid any accidents. As Yin Songming looked at the somewhat disheveled Murong Yan's group, he smiled casually. They're just a group of outer sect disciples. If they were the Dragon's Gate's inner sect disciples, it would be somewhat problematic. However, it was true that he had to end the battle quickly. Accidents were bound to happen. Death like wind. Hu Qi, with a wave of his hand, it was as if autumn had arrived in an instant, bringing with it gusts of autumn wind that were suffused with a bleak feeling. It arrived mercilessly, sweeping away all the fallen leaves in the world, bringing with it a sense of desolation and withering. The wind of autumn, the wind of death. This move was so brilliant that it made people gasp in amazement. He had actually merged the death Upanishad into the wind invisibly. One would not be able to sense where the death force was hiding. While it appeared to be empty, it was actually like a shadow following one's body. What a terrifying young man, to have mastered the Tao of death to such a level. Outside the barrier, the sovereign personages of the various sects, who were shouting earlier, all showed grave expressions when they saw Yin Songming make a move. He is Yin Songming. So, it is him, the strongest, outstanding talent of the Flood Dragon humans. According to rumor, when he fought a sovereign personage, he managed to retreat unscathed. This group of Dragon Clan juniors are going to be unlucky. Against him, they would have to be at least at the level of the 7 sons of the Divine Dragon to be able to suppress him. However, this guy is truly terrifying. I've never heard of him comprehending the Tao of death before. This fellow holds a great grudge against the dragon race. The dragon race cultivators that run into him usually do not have a good ending. Some sovereign personages recognized this Yin Songming. It turned out that he was not a nameless person. We have to break this Azura purgatory first, or we'll all die. Situ Changfeng shouted and arrived at the front. When he saw the death wind, his expression turned grave. Then he attacked decisively. 1,000 clouds stacking cliffs. In an instant, a heavy cloud will emerge from his body, stacking layer upon layer like a cloud mountain. The wind follows the clouds. This young man is very decisive. He wants to attract the wind of death to himself, creating an opportunity for his companions. But can he withstand it? The eyes of many sovereign personages lit up as they figured out Situ Chongfeng's intentions. Boom, boom, boom. Murong Yin and the others activated their great desolate Ian bloodlines one after another. Without hesitation, they each sent out a move at the Azura hell, trapping them. Amidst the horrifying dragon roars, several people attacked at the same time. The Azura purgatory immediately shook, looking like it would collapse soon. If I don't go to hell, who will? Just at this moment, Zhun Yuan shouted, and the demonic might on his body turned into a horrifying Buddhist might. A black swastika appeared under his feet. The full might of the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique, entering hell, was displayed. Block him. The expressions of Wei Hongfei and the others changed drastically. This was the greatest danger they had faced since they started cultivating. They all focused and did their best. Heaven burning rage, golden light cauldron, falling leaves filling the sky, sounding like voices. Boom! The few attacked at the same time, clashing with the horrifying saber move that Zhun Yuan executed after he ignited the Black Dragon King's demonic nature. However, after Zhun Yuan ignited his demonic nature, he executed entering hell. This could not be viewed with common sense. This saber strike knocked Murong Yin, Lu Ruyun, and the others back one after another. Their auras plummeted, and blood leaked out of a corner of their lips as they fell to the ground. Zhun Yuan turned around and took 3 steps back before he stabilized himself. The demonic might on his body slowly receded. Bang! On the other side, Situ Chongfeng, who was blocking Yin Songming's killing move alone, finally could no longer hold on. The 1,000 clouds stacking cliffs shattered, and the mysteries of death entered his body. Situ Chongfeng's life force immediately drained away. His expression turned grave as he resisted the endless mysteries of death in his body with much difficulty. Whoosh! Come with me, then. Yin Songming brushed past Situ Chongfeng and charged at Lu Ruyun, preparing to send Situ Chongfeng flying. However, something strange suddenly happened. A horrifying aura burst out of Lu Ruyun's body. Despite moving later, she arrived first and soared into the air. Yin Songming revealed an extremely horrified expression because of Lu Ruyun's aura. At this moment, it completely suppressed Yin Songming. His body even turned somewhat stiff, and fear welled up in his heart. Lu Ruyun blew away the death chi on Yin Songming's body with a palm strike. Then, she instantly stabbed the saber with her right hand into Yin Songming's chest. A horrifying saber intent surged out. Even the injuries that Yin Songming suppressed when he fought with Xiao Chen erupted at the same time. At the crucial moment, Yin Songming landed a palm strike on Lu Ruyun and quickly bounced back. Situ, are you all right? Lu Ruyun landed and looked at Situ Chongfeng with guilt on her face. Had Situ Chongfeng used the strand of aura that the White Dragon King left in his body earlier, Situ Chongfeng would not be in such a predicament. If Lu Ruyun used this strand of aura, her father, the White Dragon King, would know that she had snuck out. The dragon race had extremely strong life force. The innate energy that their bloodline gave them made them different from other cultivators. They had strong recovery abilities and strong life force. When facing the corrosion of the Death Dao's mysteries, they should have strong resistance. However, this Yin Songming seemed to have modified his Death Dao, making it especially effective against dragon race cultivators. Situ Chongfeng's current situation did not look optimistic. Damn it, you two bastards. The others struggled to get up. After checking Situ Chongfeng's situation, they glared at the two. So that's how it is. I know who you are now. After Yin Songming fell to the ground, he executed a strange hand seal. Then, the death chi on his body suddenly soared, forcefully suppressing his injuries. Yin Songming's gaze turned even more fervent as he looked at Lu Ruyun. It is not just him. All of you will not be able to escape death today. In your next life, don't be a dragon race cultivator. Yin Songming roared, and a terrifying demonic flame continuously appeared behind him. Even a smooth mirror under his feet looked down on it. Reversing the Death Dao's mysteries. He is really crazy. His talent is also startling. His comprehension of the Death Dao puts even the older generation demonic Dao experts to shame. When the many sovereign personages outside the barrier saw this scene, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. Yin Songming's gaze locked on Lu Ruyu. Aside from her, everyone else was a dead person to him. Bang! Right at that moment, a strange change occurred. Cracks began to appear on the spirit formation barrier, and frightening power began to leak out non-stop. Just as everyone felt confused, the floating divine crystal in the air suddenly exploded. A white figure floated down from the sky. The divine crystal exploded. Furthermore, a person flew out of it. This person was Xiao Chun, who had found an opportunity to break free. Xiao Chun raised his eyebrows when he saw Yin Songming, who exuded a terrifying death Dao. Holy venerate will, sun and moon shining together. With a thought, Xiao Chun brought out his holy venerate will. A bright moon and a blazing sun rose up at the same time. Moonlight and sunlight intertwined. As Xiao Chun slowly descended, he let his will of soul encase Lu Ruyun and the others. This immediately suppressed Yin Songming's death Dao's mysteries, causing him to feel a huge resistance. Yin Songming's way forward immediately became restricted. Damn it! At the crucial moment, Xiao Chun suddenly appeared. This instantly drove Yin Songming, who had suppressed all his trump cards, crazy. The negative effects of reversing the death Dao started to appear. Black demonic patterns appeared on Yin Songming's face, and pain appeared in his eyes. Yin Songming's death Dao's might continuously weakened. Zhen Yuan shouted anxiously, "Yin Songming, it's time to go." Damn it! A great opportunity is gone just like that. Xiao Chun can only let them off today. Whoosh! A murderous intent flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. The tyrant's saber, which had not appeared for a long time, instantly appeared. Xiao Chun drew his saber. Before Yin Songming, who had just thought of retreating, could react, a cold saber light flashed. Then, Yin Songming's head flew into the air. His head separated from his body, and blood spurted out. He's dead? Zhen Yuan, who had already taken a few steps back and waited for Yin Songming to retreat, was stunned when he saw this scene. Chapter 1965. The tyrant blade was unsheathed, sealing the marquee with blood. For some reason, Zhen Yuan suddenly recalled what Xiao Chun told him. It was not that Xiao Chun did not want to draw his saber, but that when he drew his saber, he needed to see blood. That saber. His gaze fell on Ba Dao, and his face instantly became solemn. Zhen Yuan had seen that saber before. However, now that he saw it again, he felt like he had been reborn. Tyrant Blade. He was very clear about the origins of this saber. Back then, he had a great chance of obtaining this saber as well. Unfortunately, it still fell into Xiao Chen's hands by chance. At first, it was not particularly scary. However, now, the feeling it gave Xiao Chun was one of fear. If Xiao Chun had used the saber back then, he would have died. He might be caught off guard and lose his life without any mental preparation. This was what happened to Yin Songming before Xiao Chun. He died a wrongful death. Despite being severely injured, he still managed to reverse the Tao of death. When he saw Xiao Chun, he hesitated for a moment and did not retreat on the spot. When the profound of death started to devour him, he wanted to retreat, but Xiao Chun didn't give him the chance. Clang! After sheathing his saber, Xiao Chun landed beside Situ Chongfeng and checked on his injuries. Xiao Chun frowned. What a horrifying death profound. The death energy in Situ Chongfeng's body was invisible and formless. However, it continuously tortured Situ Chongfeng, corroding his life force. He was like a bright flower, slowly withering. If he wanted to treat Situ Chongfeng, he would have to find the mysteries of death in his body. Of the group, Duan Fei, who was the most skilled, had already tried but could not find a solution. He directly said that only the elders of the Green Dragon Palace had a solution. However, based on Situ Chongfeng's current situation, he would not be able to last that long. Xiao Chun, is there any way to save him? Murong Yin asked sullenly, feeling extremely grave. He simply did not wish to see Situ Changfeng die. Xiaochen pondered and nodded. Don't worry. I have a way to stabilize his injuries first. If anyone has any medicinal pills that can excavate the power of the bloodline, give them to Situ. With the toughness of the dragon race's bloodline, it can slightly slow down the loss of vitality. This was only to strengthen Situ Changfeng's life force foundation, so that his life force would not drain away so quickly. Xiaochen treated the symptoms and not the root cause. However, as long as he could endure this period, Xiaochen would have a way to temporarily suppress the power of death in Situ Changfeng's body, allowing him to last until he reached the Green Dragon Palace. Given the strength of the Green Dragon Palace elders, it would not be difficult to remove Situ Changfeng's death energy. I do. Me too. The few of them rushed to take out their treasured medicinal pills and handed them to Situ Changfeng. Xiaochen, is there really a way? Lu Ruyun's eyes turned red. Her valiant face looked somewhat heart-wrenching. This time, the stimulation this child received was still a little too big. For Xiaochen and the others, they had experienced the parting of life and death a long time ago. No matter how fierce the competition was within the sect, it would not result in death. However, once they left the sect, death was all too common. At every moment, there would be cultivators falling on their way to the peak. You can, trust me. Xiaochen looked seriously at Lu Ruyun. Lu Ruyun, who always trusted him, nodded, feeling somewhat relieved at her heart. Carrying Situ Changfeng on his back, Xiaochen looked around. Cracks appeared in the barrier, looking like it would collapse at any moment. Thousands of divine crystal shards hovered in the sky, attracting the attention of the various cultivators. No one had expected Xiaochen to come out of the divine crystal and kill Yin Songming with one saber strike. All the more, no one had expected the divine crystal to explode, producing so many shards. Some people rejoiced, and some people raged. The people rejoiced because the divine crystal had shattered into so many shards. The loose cultivators would have a chance to fight for them. The people raged were the stronger ones. With the divine crystal exploding, the complete true God's mysteries would no longer exist. Even if all the divine crystal shards were pieced together, their value would be far from comparable to a complete divine crystal. Let's go. This place will turn chaotic soon. We should leave this troublesome place first. With the shattering of the barrier, blood would flow like a river because of the divine crystal shards. Boom. Indeed, someone quickly used a soul tool to shatter the barrier. Many sovereign personages soared into the sky, heading for the divine crystal shards in the air. Xiaochen and the others had already retreated to the periphery. The moment the barrier shattered, they quickly left. However, the group did not notice that Yin Songming's headless corpse on the ground silently turned into a clump of black smoke. After the black smoke of death formed a formation, it infused into a divine crystal shard. The divine crystal instantly turned black. Amid the chaos, it flew towards Zhen Yuan. Zhen Yuan felt slightly stunned. He received the divine crystal shard, feeling confused. Then, he revealed a confused expression. When Zhen Yuan saw a strange talisman seal in the divine crystal shard, he revealed an expression of understanding. I just knew that you would not die so easily. After putting away the divine crystal shard, Zhen Yuan carefully sized up the surroundings before leaving quickly. Brat, stop right there. On the other side, Xiaochen ran into trouble. Someone had been targeting them for a long time. The moment the barrier shattered, a sovereign personage elder from the ruling sword gate was sent to block Xiaochen. This was an initial perfection sovereign personage elder. His cultivation was about the same as Lu Yuanzong, whom Xiaochen interacted with. However, this sovereign personage came from a large sect. He should be slightly stronger than Lu Yuanzong. When a sovereign personage blocked their path, Murong Yin and the others showed grave expressions. In the earlier battle, Murong Yin and the others had activated their great desolate Ian bloodlines and could not put up a fight at all. Even if they did, it would not be of much use against a sovereign personage. It would not make much of a difference. You killed Qi Yinfeng, right? The old man said with a sullen expression as he looked at Xiao Chun. Clearly, there had to be a reason why this old man sought trouble for Xiao Chun while the other sovereign personages chased after the divine crystal shards. You speak too much nonsense. Xiao Chun knew that he could not resolve this peacefully. He did not overthink. The moment he appeared, the god shadow bow appeared in his hand. A spot of heart flame burned on Xiao Chun's fingertip and spread to the arrow. Then, a simplified version of heart force merged with the arrow. Xiao Chun drew the bow and drew the bowstring. Veritable essence energy and soul energy continuously poured into the bow. When facing a sovereign personage, Xiao Chun showed no intention of holding back. Aside from activating his bloodline power, he brought out the god shadow bow's full might. A soul tool. Interesting. This old man looks forward to seeing how much might an insignificant holy venerate like you can bring out. The old man showed a calm expression as he smiled faintly. A trace of mockery flashed in his eyes. The old man was very clear on the strength of a soul tool and the requirements to use it. A holy venerate would not be able to bring out much of its might. Boom! However, as the vast might and pressure from the god shadow bow soared up, the sovereign personage old man gradually turned grave. Damn it! The old man cursed after clearly seeing the grade of that soul tool. Then, he turned to leave. Without a doubt, even a sovereign personage would not dare to clash head-on with Xiao Chun using the god shadow bow at full power and the heart flame. However, by the time the old man flew over and blocked Xiao Chun, it was already too late. The god shadow arrow had never missed before. The instant Xiao Chun let go, a miserable shriek rang out. There was no way to dodge. After the arrow struck the old man, it did not lose any momentum, continuing forward ferociously, destroying countless buildings and carving out a path. Let's go. With a significant increase in Xiao Chun's soul energy, he still had some strength left over after executing the god shadow bow at full power. It was no longer like before, where he would run out of energy after executing the god shadow bow once more. Then, Xiao Chun carried Situ Changfeng on his back and quickly led the others away. Right now was far from the time when the danger was over. Xiao Chun, thank you. Situ Changfeng, who was on Xiao Chun's back, was in a daze. His mind was somewhat unclear, sometimes awake and sometimes asleep. At this moment, Situ Changfeng endured the dizziness and the loss of life force before he finally managed to say a complete sentence. Xiao Chun understood Situ Changfeng's state the best. The death energy suppressed his life force. He could only watch helplessly as his life force drained away. Even in such pain, Situ Changfeng still had to thank Situ Changfeng. This made Xiao Chun feel somewhat uncomfortable. He replied softly, Situ, don't speak. Conserve your strength. On Xiao Chun's back, Situ Changfeng said in a somewhat daze, I can't. I have to say it. Otherwise, I won't have a chance to say it. That would be too regretful. Murong Yin felt a lump in his throat, and tears indeed flowed out. As he cried, he thought, stop talking. Xiao Chun said that he can save you, so he definitely can. Murong Yin thought of many things. He had known Situ Changfeng for much longer than Xiao Chun. Many times, Situ Changfeng would step forward without hesitation. Murong Yin thought of demonic venerate Mu Yun in Violent Flame Desert. Situ Changfeng had saved his life when he was in danger. Now, if not for Situ Changfeng blocking Yin Songming's death like wind, all of them would have died. They would not have lasted until Xiao Chun appeared. Situ Changfeng was always so kind. Most of the time, Murong Yin was heartless and did not overthink. He did not even say a word of thanks. Situ Changfeng's words were unbearable for Murong Yin. He should be the one thanking Situ Changfeng. Wei Hongfei and the others showed unsightly expressions as well. Their eyes even turned somewhat moist. Xiao Chun showed a grave expression when he felt the weight on his back. It was not because Situ Changfeng was really heavy. Instead, it was because he felt his responsibility. He felt everyone's anticipation of him saving Situ Changfeng's life. Xiao Chun killed Yin Songming with one saber strike, and knocked back a sovereign personage with one arrow. To others, these actions looked casual. However, who knew how much effort, soul energy, and veritable essence energy Xiao Chun put into them? Xiao Chun did not say anything. He silently carried Situ Chong Feng on his back as he killed the guards along the way. After making one round, Xiao Chun returned to the place where he fought with Yin Saming. He wanted to go to the southern city, to the herb garden in the southern city. Whether Situ Chongfeng could survive or not depended on Xiao Chun. Kill. As Xiao Chun faced the guards blocking his way, he did not hold back on his veritable essence energy and soul energy, which he did not have much in the first place. It looked like hope was right before him. Xiao Chen's eyelids twitched slightly. When he looked up, he saw a white-clad monk and a mysterious person shrouded in a scarlet shadow standing on the roof in front. Ming Xian, Xiao Chan said through clenched teeth as he stopped walking. He had not expected to run into this person at this moment.